Thank you, everyone, for your patience. PH, let me know what you think, and Strider, if you're still out there, let me know what you think about the audio. Kevin, what's up, brother? Good to see you again, man. Good to see you. Yes, so thank you, everyone, for joining us. Technical issues abound. If you've been around Twitch long enough, you know. Sounds better? Sounds quiet? I mean, I can do louder. Louder's not a problem. But that's good. At least it's not too loud. Here, we'll crank her up here. Crank her up. There we go. Whatever. Fuck it. Okay, so it's good to you. All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, chat, for your feedback. Appreciate it. Without further ado, I don't want to slow down Derek's roll, man. He's I can tell looking at his eyes the whole time here. He's in the zone. All right. He's concentrating all his chi for this. So let's push forward. So today, for this campaign, I'll be playing Midge Underfoot, and Midge is a rock gnome, and he used to not belong to a nice elf guy, but I worked for a nice elf guy. My parents went away somehow. I don't know if they died or what happened, but anyway, I ended up with this nice elf guy. He was cool. And I worked for him, and we did research, and we learned things, and then he went and fucking died, so that sucked. And that's also sucked because the people in his estate kicked me out and made me live on the street, and so I had to develop these businesses, right? I became an entrepreneur, and I developed Midge's Medicinals. And it turns out that the herbs I was using in the Khorvaire Kush were illegal. I got arrested for that, and then I started back alley pharmaceuticals. Turns out that that's a bad name for a business. I got robbed, and they called me a drug dealer and beat my ass. And then there was Underfoot Street Pharmacy, also not a great business opportunity. But I try. I studied alchemy. I studied, I like to heal people and do things and help out. And it wasn't until I met Mr. Cyrus that, I finally found a steady job and someone to protect me from the people who kept mugging me and beating the hell out of me. And, and it's been great. It's been real good. And, I'm just kind of tagging along on his endeavors, and we'll see what happens. Aha.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely want to stay away from those weird pharmaceuticals. There are a couple of drugs in Eberron. There's Dragon Blood and Dream Lily. I want to get hooked on that shit.
No way.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Our characters now introduced. I would like to introduce you and them to Eberron. So I wrote a brief something here to introduce everybody, to kind of the world get a concept of where and when and what we'll be playing. So welcome to the world of Eberron. Some of you may be new to this amazing world, so allow me to provide a brief introduction to this home of pulp adventure, perilous noir, and dire heroism. Eberron is a world born from conflict. The creation myth says that in the dawn of time, the three great cosmic dragons labored in the void of chaos to create the 13 planes of existence. Their final work, the material plane, was placed at the center of these 13, where all ideas, hopes, and dreams could find purchase and grow. But before the three dragons could complete their work, Kyber, the cruelest of the three, struck down Sybaris, and Eberron, the great dragon, encircled its sibling, trapped within its own body, and thereby completed their ultimate goal, and Eberron became a living world. This is the creation myth. All across the continent of Khorvaire and the world of Eberron itself, this is what's taught, this is what is known. Since this cosmic struggle, Eberron, the world, has known little peace. The countless wars of archfiend overlords, giant imperialists, draconic tyrants, empires of goblin warlords, and the kingdoms of men, so many have shaped and reshaped the world through their struggles and battles and skirmishes. But one war looms above all others now. The last war, as it's known, ravaged the continent of Khorvaire for over a century. 5 nations, Ondare, Breland, Karnath, Thrain, and Sire, were once united under the kingdom of Galifar, but upon the death of Galifar's king, the nations broke their bonds and waged a bloody civil war for dominance of the continent. Each nation fought for every inch of sand and grass, with every attack answered tenfold. The dragon marked houses, wealthy and powerful families of invention and magic, created incredible and horrific machinations of war, and every invention went towards the singular goal of being twisted into weaponry and the death of others. The war would seemingly never end until it did. One day, in the span of an hour, the entire kingdom of Sire was destroyed. Millions lost their lives, and countless others were irrevocably changed from the event. The land of Sire is scarred beyond recognition or inhabitation now. The entire kingdom is now known as the Mourning. It's encircled by a dense wall of smoke and fog and shadow, and some say that the land within has become a wasteland of horror and ravenous abominations. To this day, the cause of the calamity is unknown, but the sheer loss of the event was enough to bring a ceasefire to the remaining 4 nations. The Treaty of Thronehold was signed, and an uneasy peace was made. It's 5 years later now. We're post-calamity, but many still wonder. The war ended with a clear loser, but without a clear winner. With such a fragile peace, how long can it last? So we now look at the world of Eberron. We focus further to the continent of Khorvaire, to the southern reaches of the kingdom of Breland, to a shining city that reaches for the heavens. And it is here, in Sharn, the city of towers, that our story begins. Sharn is called the City of Towers for very obvious reasons. It's built between the rocky cliffs and the Dagger River, and the thriving city, ever growing, could not grow out, so it grew up. It is the largest city of Khorvaire, with a massive population of over 500,000 different beings. Mostly human, but still represents a little of all of Eberron's peoples and sentient races. While the city is normally a bright and vibrant place full of life and story and movement, today is comparatively gloomy. It is late winter here in Khorvaire. More specifically, it's the 20th day of Ularun, 999 YK, or Mull. It's a Monday. It's a gloomy Monday. And a cold rain slithers its way between the bridges and open spaces of the bridges that link the several towers of Sharn. Everywhere, the citizenry walk around wearing black, some in full dress, still others wear a black sash across their heart or a black ribbon over their heart. But I think I've talked long enough for now, so let's go to some of our characters. Each of you has received an invitation. It was unsigned, but it bore the well-known seal of House Cannith, being a metal gorgon. A gorgon in this case, not as like Medusa, but like a bull made from constructed steel and metal. So let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Who actually would be who's in the top left? Open.
Jill?
Me?
Jillian? Okay, yeah. For some reason, my phone closed on Twitch. So, Jillian, your character, Morag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Yes.
from Sharn? Have you ever been to Sharn?
No.
Okay.
I'm from Drome. I'm from the capital city of Drome.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, Drome being the nation to the northwest, being mostly monstrous creatures ruled by the three sisters, three hags.
Yes.
Okay. So this might be a very alien place to you. Drome is a place that's inhabited by gnolls and minotaurs and goblinoids and every type of creature that probably haunts the nightmares of the citizenry of Sharn. But you've come to the city nevertheless. What was the means of transportation that you used? Did you come by the lightning rail? Were you wealthy enough to afford an airship? You came by sea in a galleon?
I have a flying broom that I've been traversing the countryside with.
Okay.
So I kind of just have been drifting along the winds. I have a mission of sorts that has no really end. I just wander And so I've wandered into this place, and this is the last place that I've been.
Okay. So yeah, you find yourself now on the lower portions of Sharn. Like I said, it's a very gloomy day. You find yourself in the the area known as Dora. It's the area closest to the Dagger River. I imagine that probably with your broom you would be able to sail in pretty unnoticed. Yeah, is there? Are you heading straight for the? I guess the dragon marked houses you might know are towards the center and kind of up above everybody else as the wealthy tend to be. Are you heading straight there, or you're in an amazing city? Is there anything you'd like to see in the meantime?
So I have already received this invitation.
You
Okay.
have. Yeah, you were
So
tracked down by one of the messengers from House Orion, who are kind of the mail carriers of Eberron.
so I am interested and intrigued. So I will probably just head straight towards this place to check in.
Okay. All right. So you land. You're walking the stone streets. Like I said, it's wet. There's not a lot of people out. And you're making your way. While you're doing that, let's cut to Kyle. Kyle, have you ever been to Sharn? Are you from Sharn?
Yeah. I mean, I was from Sharn when my master died. I tried to live on the streets, but it was just too hazardous to my health. Um, and I fled Sharn, and at some point after that, I found Cyrus, and he had informed me of his needs, and I was hired on to help him rid himself of this peril.
Okay, so you and Cyrus have come to the city together.
Yeah. I would have came with him. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a particular mode of transportation that you use to come to the city?
I mean, I don't have a steed or anything, but I can ride side saddle.
Maybe we had a carriage or something was what I was thinking. Nothing
Sure.
too flashy like an airship, but still better than walking.
Yeah, plenty of people are tend to not go by airship. That is definitely for the wealthier folk. The wealthiest, of course, use the teleportation circles. But yes, the airships fly up above and tend to stay up above in the higher towers where the money tends to be. But still, the lightning rail is a decent mode of transportation, and carriages still work just fine in this world. So you now find yourselves in Sharn, in some of the lower portions. You're walking along. You're going by some of the more unscrupulous taverns that don't bear the mark of House Gondola, meaning that they're probably not up to code. Is the best comparison to that. Is there anything you guys are looking to do, or are you heading straight for the dragon marked houses?
So did we get two separate invites or just one invite for both of us?
You received two separate invites. Yeah,
Okay.
they were both addressed to either of you in kind, and you kind of noticed that the messenger from House Orion seemed a little relieved at that, meaning that they didn't have to travel and find somebody else.
Yeah. Cyrus is very mistrustful of Dragonmark houses since he was a warrior of Karnath. Karnath was very self-reliant on their own military powers, and so he kind of feels like if House Cannith hadn't been supplying warforged soldiers to some of the other nations, that Karnath probably would have won the war. And he's got his own condition of an aberrant dragon mark that he's looking for a cure, which is why he hired Midge. So he knows that the dragon mark houses, if they find out he's got an aberrant dragon mark, they might try and kill him, since they have in the past killed people with aberrant dragon marks. So he's very cautious. He sees this as a bad thing, but he can't just ignore it because he doesn't want to call attention to himself. So he thinks maybe if they don't know about the aberrant dragon mark, that it's best just to go see what they want and try and make it go away as fast as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe this is an opportunity for someone to help. Maybe it's a trap. Yeah, definitely a soldier from Karnath who fought with the the kingdom of Breland that Sharn is within. Yeah, they were pretty tooth and nail with one another. So yeah, you have to wonder, especially with a companion who's from Sharn and would be the first to tell you that it's not a place particularly known for safety or friendliness. But you both have come nonetheless. So you're walking along. You pass by, like I said, some of the more unscrupulous bars. You see a group of drunken hobgoblins that are kind of singing in their native language, one of their war songs. And you actually might know. You both can make a history check if you like.
Ooh, okay. So this is a first and many questions. Is this history check related to magical items, alchemical objects, or technological devices?
It is not just
Okay.
general history.
Okay. Then take 3 off of whatever this is.
Okay. Between the two of you, I think that, especially one of you being from Sharn, the other one being a soldier of Karnath, and actually, if I remember right, uh, somewhat involved even in the events of the morning, this might be a day that you remember. This is the 5-year anniversary of the calamity known as the Mourning, where the kingdom of Sire was itself obliterated and walled off in smoke and shadow. So as you're walking through the streets, there's definitely a pall that's over Sharn. There's a number of, like people said, wearing full black. Those that aren't, like I said, there's kind of almost just like a strip of black cloth that they drape over their body, or a black badge that they wear, and the weather kind of hasn't added to the general mood of the city. So there's definitely a general depression here. And with that, we'll go to our final, but certainly last but not least, Kay.
Yes.
So how have you come? Are you from Sharn?
Well, this is where all of the dragon marked houses are kind of centralized. She may very well be from here, but she would tend to probably live more in the, even though she has a dragon mark herself, she is kept away from the formal house. She's probably lived in a more of a lower middle class, if not like a poorer area of the city, and or if even on like more of an outskirts area. So she's probably semi-familiar with the area itself.
Okay, so you're probably a little more street smart than maybe any of the others. Even Midge, it's been several years since they've been here, but you know Sharn. You know Sharn's not exactly a great place, but it's your place. And yeah, absolutely, there's dragon marked houses everywhere. But yeah, you were raised not necessarily up in the towers where the dragon marked houses of Sharn tend to gather. You have a dragon mark, but something about your family didn't give you the all the fortune and the, yeah, whatever you want to call it, the greatness that comes with the dragon mark name.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of dragon mark individuals, those that actually from the houses that have the mark themselves, tend to put a D apostrophe in front of their last name. Do you do that? Are you a D Larendar, or do you even use the last name Larendar?
She does not use any particular last name. She, as she has been told, as she's been raised by her mother, her father, whom she has never met, or at least can remember meeting, was some sort of ranking official in the house, and she was a love affair bastard child. And her mother was paid off to keep the child far away because they did not want this, child to have any sort of claim to anything in the house, because that is very not, fancy or right.
Right. There's definitely a tendency to want to hide these things. People don't hear about that a lot. They don't hear about and for sure it happens. Of course it happens.
Scandalous, yeah.
But definitely the children, the bastard children of the houses are often not recognized, and you find yourself in almost an invisible club. You don't know who the other members are, but you're one of them now. They have jackets. So all of you, like I said, have received this invitation to House Cannith, which, like I said, is in the central district up in one of the high towers. When I say it's in the high towers, I should specify, because Sharn has technically the highest of towers and then even higher ones. The dragon marked houses are the highest towers whose foundations actually touch physical earth. The even wealthier among Sharn's citizens actually live in a district which has been built upon cloud cover, which exists even above the dragon marked houses. You fortunately don't have to find your way there because you pretty much have to either hitch a ride with a gargoyle or pay out the nose for an airship. You just have to find your way to the dragon marked houses. And in a city the size of Sharn, that can be somewhat difficult. So all of you find yourselves in generally the same level, kind of different places. We'll say with Midge and I'm sorry, Nate. I'm going to write down these character names because I just forgot for the first time. That's not good. Cyrus. That's right.
Yeah, it's okay. I have to like have people adjust it on a screen to put it on the right one for me to remember. So don't worry. You don't have that. You don't even have that luxury because you don't have that screen in front of you.
So Midge, Cyrus, both of you are walking. Midge, you have kind of a memory of the city. Some things have changed, not a lot. You come to what you expect is going to be the closest bridge that's going to connect you to the central district, the central plateau. And a guard stops you, puts up his hands, he goes, "I'm sorry." He's one of the Sharn City Watch. They tend to wear white and gold. And he says, "Sorry, the bridge is out. You need to find another way."
Do I know of another plausible way?
You do. There are several bridges that kind of interlock. The next bridge is probably about a 2 hours walk away.
Ooh. So I'd inform Cyrus, Mr. Cyrus, sir, it's a really long walk around. Can you,
Is there a like time constraint on our invitation? Did we have to be there by noon or something like that?
There's not. Actually, it's kind of fortuitous that all of you have arrived on the same day. There wasn't any expectation for you to come at any individual point.
Okay. So I guess if we're not in a hurry, there's no point in hassling this guard over it.
Yeah, so you both turn around.
I'd like to see more of Sharn too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you actually find one of the lifts in the area, which takes you to takes you higher in the area where you are. It doesn't take you any further inward, but if Midge remembers right, there's probably some bridges on this level which will connect you. Rami, or is it Rami or Rami? I can't remember.
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. It is Rami. Ramiel.
Okay. You are probably very comfortable. You probably don't get up to the dragon marked houses too often, but I mean, this is.
She actively avoids them.
Yeah, but this is still. I mean, it's your neighborhood. I kind of imagine that Sharn's a lot like New York. The central district is like Manhattan. Rami's probably in Brooklyn somewhere. You know, this is her area. She's moving about. Is there anywhere you want to stop along the way? Is there anything in particular you want to see?
She probably, in all honesty, needed to be sneaky and sneak away from her home just to be able to answer this invitation, because it probably seemed quite fishy to her mom that the person they're keeping in hiding from the dragon marked houses is being invited to them. So she's probably just trying to take the most fastest route to get to where she needs to go, having her cloak pulled up over her head and just keeping low and keeping quiet, not trying to stop and interact with people, really.
Cool. So you're probably going to cut through some of the lower areas, which probably have more of the citizens from Drome. You know, you're being from the city, you're not scared of bugbears, you're not scared of minotaurs. You're used to this sort of thing.
Fine.
So yeah, you're going through some of the lower areas, and you're probably going to want to cut through the bazaar. That's where, you know, a lot of people go. Not great if you have agoraphobia, but definitely good if you want to get lost in a crowd and find the quickest way to almost anywhere in the city. And that is actually where we find Morag. Morag, you found your way to the bazaar, and like I said, we're looking around. There's almost every type of race that Eberron the world could produce. There's Dragonborn, which come from far distant lands. There's lizard folk. Um, there's a couple of Minotaur. You see more hobgoblins, but there's plenty of people about too, and dwarves and elves and gnomes. Are you still just heading straight for the dragon marked houses, or is there anything that's kind of marked your curiosity?
What at the bazaar? What distance? What like how long would it take me to get to the house? If
You
I
still
were to
got
head
probably
there?
another hour. If
Okay.
it takes about half an hour to get between all the districts, essentially.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you've got at least half an hour to get to the central plateau, and then probably another half an hour to get to the height you're looking to.
As the crow flies or walking?
You could definitely try flying. The bridges are kind of dense, so you might have to bob and weave. But it's certainly something you could try.
So if I guesstimate that I have a half an hour or so to get to my destination, Morag sets down, and she is about 6'2". She's very tall and very slender and willowy. So she kind of puts her broom kind of in like a little holder on her back, and she looks around the bazaar to see if there's a place of bare earth, possibly like a little bit of mud.
Um, so all of the towers, I mean, everything about Sharn is manufactured. It's
Mhm.
all stone. But certainly, if she wanted to, she could probably find somewhere where somebody has spilled some sand.
Okay. So she just wants a little bit of either nature or something that is like not man-made. She's something like that.
Yeah,
So
it's hard
she
to
looks.
come by in Sharn, but in the bazaar, you can find almost anything.
Ah,
And before too long, she finds actually patch of straw with some sand under it. Almost looks like it was maybe, somebody had set up shop here with some exotic animals and just kind of left a little mess and patches of stuff
perfect.
before. Yeah.
So she has kind of like a girdle around her, like very slender waist, and she kind of unlaces it, and she takes it off and lays it on the ground on this patch of earth, and she pulls out what looks like red dyed rib bones from this girdle, and there's 6 rib bones that are carved, and she will sit there and cast augury, and so she rolls the rib bones around in her hands, and she beseeches her patron, Sora Teresa, especially, who is the hag that is the diviner of the group. And she will say, Granny Teresa, is this outcome good if I go to this meeting? Am I safe? And she'll drop the rib bones on the girdle on the ground. And so it's going to take a while to commune. It takes about 11 minutes. Uh, so if no one disturbs her, she might get an answer. But generally, for augury, she would get a woe for good, or a
Wheel, right?
wheel for bad, or a woe and wheel for mixed results, or nothing if there isn't really any answer.
Okay. Well, while you're waiting for this answer, every now and then somebody will walk by and go, "Are you doing readings?"
Get in line.
They just kind of look around for the line. They don't see one, and after a little while, they just kind of walk away. But
Okay.
but while you're waiting for the answer, by this time, I think that probably Rami has come to the bazaar as well. That's where she would know to go, and because of actually several bridges being out, almost an unconscionable number, you almost wonder if something's up. Both Midge and Cyrus have found themselves in the bazaar. And it's at this point where Morag receives an answer. It is a mixture. It is weal and woe. But there's something more. Morag doesn't sleep, does she?
No.
So the message that would normally come to her in dreams normally comes when she casts augury. And it's always from Granny Teresa, the blind dusk hag, and you always get just a small voice in the back of your head. And this one just says, beware, listen, look, and be careful.
I nod and I gather up the bones and I open my eyes to see if there's anyone that was waiting in line.
You don't have anybody. I think that they've unfortunately they have, unless any of, I don't want to speak for any of our characters. If Midge or Cyrus or Rami saw a tusked elf, as I think what we maybe decided an orc elf was, if you saw somebody giving readings, is that something you'd be interested in?
Did we backtrack that far though? Cyrus and I.
Yeah. By this time, I think that you would have had to get to the bazaar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's you've come across bridge after bridge, almost to the point of frustration, where for some reason or another, it's no longer there.
Mr.
Like
Cyrus,
all of these bridges are? Do we think that's some sort of like happenstance that normally happens around here, or
we
what's going on?
can role play that out if you'd like. Yeah. You come across your third bridge in a row, which isn't there anymore. And once again, another couple of the Sharn City Watch are standing there, just almost bored looking, just going, sorry, can't use this one.
Can I ask him what's going on with all the bridges being out?
It's probably just minor acts of terrorism. It happens.
Oh, okay.
Minor, probably.
Yeah, it's the anniversary of the Mourning. There's always someone who comes along and wants to be a dick about it. I'd guess it's probably, well, I could guess probably 10 different groups that wanted to take out these bridges. Nobody got hurt.
Oh, if Karnath had won the war and was in charge of Sharn, this stuff would not be happening. And I'll just turn and walk away.
And you actually hear him lean over. He goes, if Karnath had won the war, we'd all be skeletons.
You're already a skeleton.
Underneath all that meat, there's a
Yeah.
skeleton, my guy.
So
I won't engage him.
Okay.
I'm not trying to start a fight.
So yeah, you all have found yourselves in the bazaar now, and it's at this point. I want everybody to roll a perception check.
Wow.
All right. So Midge is a little concerned with probably not being run over in the bazaar. It's tough for a person of shorter height, especially in an area where a lot of taller folk are. Midge, actually, you get distracted. You're walking along. You're trying to keep up with Cyrus, and in the crowd, you lose him for a second, and you actually bump into the back thigh of a rather large individual. And as you look up, this entity turns around, and in the light from the ever-bright lanterns above, you see the silhouette of a terrifying minotaur. Horns pointed out to the sides. The eyes almost seem to glow, even as the silhouette itself is totally black. What would you like to do?
Whimper in fear. Whoa. Sorry.
Bonus action.
Sorry, friend. I'm trying to look up to discern whether it's a male or female.
He leans down, and he goes, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been in the way. Could you spare a copper? And he holds out his minotaurish hand.
Yeah, I have sure. Yeah, I have a couple here. You just hold on here. Just now I'll reach into my pouch and grab out a copper.
And he takes it. He goes, thank you, bless you. And he turns and goes trotting off. And it's now at this point that all the rest of you have not being distracted by a pauper minotaur, heard a roar and screams. And as you look around, you see a large crowd of people running for their lives towards the center of the bazaar, towards one of the side streets. And you hear a very animalistic, deep roar as you hear even more shouts coming from that area.
Mr. Cyrus! Where the fuck everybody go? Oh wait, never mind. I only got one person so far.
I probably ran towards the screams, so I might have like completely forgotten about Midge,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, it dusted me. That's fair.
Rami, if she did happen to cross Morag's path, was absolutely just kind of half hiding behind some sort of stall, just like peeking around, like, what's the pretty lady doing over there? Just like watching her, and then she starts packing up, and she's like, oh, well, there goes that entertainment. And then there's big screams, so she's just very easily distracted, very easily gets thrown off her path of trying to get to where she's going as quick as possible. So she's just, just kind of keeping her hood up, keeping low, tries to make her way, like weaving through the crowd to get over towards the sound also.
And Morag, are you heading towards the sound, or is that none of your business?
I slip all the ribs back into my girdle, I cinch it back around my waist, and I kind of, not with haste, but with caution, wander in the direction of the screaming.
Yeah, you are all able to kind of go against the flow of people that are now running down this narrow, dangerous Sharn bridge area. Kind of everything in Sharn is a bridge. Anything that connects the two towers, or any of the two towers that make up the many in the city. Some of these areas have kind of fencing or some type of thing to prevent people from falling. This one doesn't, but you're all able to successfully get across. And you see on one of the lifts an odd scene. This is one of the lifts that comes up from the seaside, near where the galleons typically bring in shipments and the goods, whatever they may be, are put on any of these individual lifts and brought to wherever they're going to be stored. You see a number of cargo boxes, typically things that would be bound on a ship. You also see a couple of containers that would typically have animals inside of them. One of them you actually recognize has the seal of House Vidalis, which is known for their animal husbandry, breeding, and caretaking. They typically use the hippogriffs. You see that on the side. And that cage has been broken open, and in front of it, you see a Pegasus. Its two back legs chained together and bound inside the cage. And in front of this Pegasus is another cage, not marked by any of House Vidal's signs or markings. This one looks more ramshackle. It has a lot of the signs, if any of you have ever met Talenta halflings. And this cage, also being open, has recently exited from that cage a tyrant lizard, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this T-Rex is now lurching over this Pegasus with ravenous intent.
Wow. Fucking T-Rex in the city.
Are there Talenta halflings around? Are they trying to get it back under control?
You see two Talenta halflings which have been knocked to the ground. Whether they are unconscious or dead, you can't necessarily tell from this distance. There are a couple others which have spears or nets or whatever else, but they haven't gotten close enough to do anything serious.
Does it look like they're going to be able to get it under control?
Probably not.
Can I get within 30 feet of it?
Certainly.
So I get on my broom and I coast over the crowd a little bit, and I get within 30 feet of it, and I take out a dead mouse out of one of my pockets, and I kind of swirl it around, and I cast Charm Monster.
Okay.
So it needs to make a DC 15 Wisdom save. Since we're not fighting it yet, us not fighting it, it might not make it a disadvantage, but it does say if it's being fought by us, it would make it an advantage. So your call, I guess.
Well, it got a 20 and a 19, so either way. Yes, the mouse that you are spinning about, though you try to charm this creature, it has a much more savory meal in mind that is right in front of it. It seems to have broken the chains that once bound its own feet, and this Pegasus is unfortunately still bound and unable to go anywhere.
I swear under my breath.
All right. Well, we'll consider that a surprise round, but now the T-Rex has noticed you all, so let's roll for initiative.
First fight, T-Rex. Getting right in it. All right. Son of a bitch.
I rolled a
Damn you,
4.
T-Rex.
I've got a 0 and I rolled a 19.
What is going on here? Mr. Cyrus, what the fuck are you moving so fast for?
Gotta say, pretty high.
When
like,
people
first
are in
roll I've made
danger.
is a 20.
And
Rocking
then
a 5. I don't know how you want to track this.
5 and 4. I'll just write it down. And more, and actually, you know what? We might as well give the Pegasus a fighting chance. All right. Peg the Pegasus. All right. Top of the order, Remy. What do you got in store for this T-Rex?
Oh boy. I believe she's going to try to save the Pegasus first and foremost, because why not? She's a little girl and Pegasi are pretty.
That's right. That's right.
Trying to find something. I don't know how this spell works.
Kick him in the junk, Ramy.
I don't know what to do. I could move and cast a spell, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Eh. Oh, it's a line. Okay, that makes it better. She's gonna go all out and cast lightning bolt. She will adjust so she is in line with the dinosaur creature here. And can you go into chat for me, please? Why won't you go? Oh,
We can arrange.
there we go.
All
Yeah.
right. 5 feet long, so let's see.
And
Dexterity
if
saving throw.
yes, and if anything happens else to be in the way. I
All
don't
right, yeah,
think-
nothing's currently in the way or
Okay, good.
necessarily behind it. What's the
Good.
DC?
Would that just be my? Never played
No, you're okay.
one of these before. Spell save DC, it would be a 14, so he looks like
Okay.
he passed it.
Yes, it surprisingly spry T-Rex is able to side.
Hold on 1 sec. I'm sorry. What was your DC? 14?
That's just what it says. It says
okay.
spell save DC. It says 14, like on my character sheet, and I'm
Never mind.
assuming that's
Okay.
what we're going with.
Okay, never mind. I was gonna use a reaction to do something. Go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, this typically kind of looks like what you would imagine, not even a full-size T-Rex. It's maybe a little bit younger, but is still thoroughly scarred. But it's survived long enough that when it sees a lightning bolt coming, it gets out of the way, and it is able to sidestep this one. And we're now to.
It still says it takes half damage on a successful
Cool.
save.
Then yeah, it's that lightning blast is still going to kick back with some energy. So what is that damage?
It does 8d6, but then so should I roll just 4d6 or should I roll 8 and just cut it in half?
Roll 8.
Roll 8 and
eight.
cut it in half.
All right, 13 looks like then.
Awesome. All right.
thing is powerful. It just has high dex and high wisdom.
I didn't
Doesn't
think
have
something.
either.
I
It
didn't think
rolled
something big would
incredibly
have
well.
good dex.
Yeah.
It rolled incredibly well on that wisdom.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be over like that. Yeah, no, I'm as surprised as you are. All right. So now, Cyrus, it is your turn.
I'm looking around for Midge. Is Midge here? Can I find Midge? Where's my Midge at?
What are you? What are you? A Kenyan? I can't keep up.
Yeah,
Just-
I shout for Midge. Midge, get the halflings that are down and get them out of the way and make sure they're okay. And I will charge and keep the dinosaurs' attention.
Okay.
So I want to get in melee range. Is that
You
possible?
can do that. You can
Okay.
do that.
And I think I will attack with my radiant longsword.
Go for it. All right. Does a 13 hit? It does. Just hits.
Sweet.
Go and roll damage.
So I think I'll just do that. So 15 total.
What you can actually do in the future is just click where
I'll
it
click
says.
this.
That's it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Cool.
All right. We'll do the 15 if that's if that was the first roll.
Okay.
All right. Anything for bonus action? Anything else?
I think I'll add a Paladin's Might to it. So that'll be another 2d8 damage at the cost of a spell slot.
Okay.
Just do that. So another 13 radiant.
Ooh.
Alrighty. So 28 points of damage.
And then one more attack.
Okay.
I don't think a 10 hits, does
10
it?
does not hit.
Okay. And I will mark down one spell.
Awesome. All right. Now we are to Rexy's turn. All right. Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody do the dinosaur. It has a multi-attack, and has Cyrus put himself between this T-Rex and its meal?
I was trying to protect the halflings. So if they were
Okay.
by the Pegasus, then I would be there, yeah.
Yeah, you're more to the side, but it still has noticed you, and it's not really liking getting hit a couple of times with a magical sword. So it is going to take a bite towards you, and as it does, its tail is going to sweep towards the Pegasus as it redirects its attention.
Okay.
So bite towards you is 21.
Yep, just hits.
Okay. So you are now grappled. So on your next turn, you can try an acrobatics or athletics. Try to break a 17. Yes, you are currently restrained, and the tail attack towards the Pegasus.
How much damage was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. 36.
Ugh.
Wow.
As this T-Rex, very lawyer on the toilet, just comes chomping down, and even through your adamantine armor, you still feel the teeth pierce into you, and it goes to lift you up. It's essentially going to be its next action.
Before it attacks with a tail, I'd like to use a reaction to use my radiant weapon.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to blind it with a bright flash of light from my sword.
Sure.
It needs to make a. I think Midge, was it your spell save DC?
Yes. So DC 15.
Con save.
Con
Yeah.
save.
15 con save. All right. You know, it has a constitution of 19, and it rolled like that. So, what do you know, everybody? Yes, it absolutely fails that. So it is now blinded.
Yeah, it's blind until the end of its next turn.
All right. Revved up like a deuce. Another rumor in the night. You're blinded by the light. Okay, we now have a blinded T-Rex that still has you in its mouth. It's an odd sensation. And the tail attack did succeed against the Pegasus.
Even with
And-
the disadvantage?
Well, I guess that's true. If that would be your reaction for the bite. Well, yeah, because disadvantage, it was either a 28 or a 17.
Yep.
So yeah, Pegasus has an AC of 12,
Sorry,
Um,
Pegasus, I tried.
and it's going to take 25 damage as this tail comes smacking into the side of it. But it's still up. It's still looking okay. Definitely not great. All right, and now we are to Peg's turn. It is Peg's turn. Peg is going to try to break the chains, and
Peg the Pegasus.
Peg the Pegasus.
Peg the peg. Oh man.
And unfortunately, it strains at the chains on the backs of its legs. It kicks back with its hooves, but the chains stay intact. And
I would running towards the halflings, as Mr. Cyrus asked me to do.
Mhm.
I would see this Pegasus trying to get free from the T-Rex, and could I don't know if it'll help, but I will I will have my Tinkerer's tools in hand and kind of point them at the lock and whisper some arcane stuff and try to use my Flash of Genius, which will add my intelligence modifier to its roll, making it you're giving it +4, so making it a 20.
Yeah, okay. That would be enough to break some chains. Let's see if it's enough damage. All right. It is able to loosen a few of the links, but it is not able to fully break the chains. Actually, one of its hooves gets free, and the chain is kind of dangling, but the other one is still bound. But yeah, good work on that. It is half free, and it is now. It was S. Why did I write that?
It's supposed to be a Zorro symbol.
I have no idea. All right. I guess this is Morag. Or no, actually, that's right. I wrote S instead of, because Morag and Midge. I don't get that confused. So actually, Kyle, it is your turn.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Okay, so I used my good. I got my reaction back. Sweet. So I'm running and I see that I want to free the Pegasus, but these people could be in danger. And Mr. Cyrus, I'm going to follow his orders, get them first. So I'm going to whistle to the small airship like homunculus that is riding that is hooked onto the top of my backpack, and it will detach from my backpack and like kind of hover over, and I'll say, okay, Ahab, we gotta get these two little fellas. I'm fucking little too. These two fellas out of here and to safety, like Mr. Cyrus said. So help me pull. Don't be lazy. And yes, I will hold my action to start pulling these halflings away from the T-Rex once I'm sure that Ahab can help me. Basically, Ahab can give me the help action, but I can't do it until he's able to help me with his, So
Okay, yeah.
I use my bonus action to tell him what to do. I hold my action till he can actually help me, and then we both do it together. So what I'll do is I'll basically make the little airship, and Ahab is an airship with a little tiny head on it, right below the mast, and
Very Thomas the Tank Engine.
less creepy, but yes. So yeah, and I'll like hook the clothing of one of the halflings up to his underbelly, and we'll both kind of pull, because I'm tiny, so I know I can't really do it well on my own, so I'll have him help me.
Okay. So you're holding your action until
what's his name? Ahab's turn, which is right after mine.
Okay.
Until Ahab can help me, till he can use the help action, which is
There we
right
go.
after me.
Well, then we'll move into Ahab's turn.
Okay, so yeah, so we'll have Ahab flutters over. I hook the suspenders or whatever clothing of one of the halflings up.
Definitely suspenders.
Definitely suspenders. It should be.
Yeah.
Underneath the Ahab is smaller than them, so he'll kind of like bounce a little bit with the weight. And then I will pull on his arm, the unconscious halfling's arms, as Ahab tries to push it along, and we'll try to pull the first halfling away from the action.
Okay. Yeah, I can't imagine that halflings are particularly heavy, but perhaps to a smaller individual and a homunculus, maybe they are. So go ahead and roll a strength roll. Strength roll.
Okay, with the help. Athletics. Gross. Okay, so
All right.
13?
Yeah, you are able to successfully move this halfling. Whatever you consider your movement. Is it 25 for gnomes?
Yeah, yep, 25.
Okay. So yeah, are you moving them back towards, I guess, where everybody ran, or are you trying to move them behind some of the boxes?
Where we ran from, and give them behind something so that the T-Rex no longer has line of sight.
Yeah, it's blinded currently, so this is the perfect time to do it. It has literally no line of sight.
Yes, that's true. Good
So,
choice. Good choice, Nate.
So yeah, you have you've saved potentially. You didn't check to see whether they were alive or dead, but you have pulled away at least a potential meal for this T-Rex as it chomps on your friend. So yeah, anything else for your turn?
That's about all I can do. Depending on how long it took me to get back to a place of safety, I'll just use my remaining whatever movement I have to walk towards the second halfling. That's all.
Okay. All right, and that brings us finally to Morag.
Me.
So you're kind of surveying the scene from above, right?
Yeah. I pull back a little bit. I was well out of the way of this man-eater. And I'm going to do like a sweep of my arm and then fire 2 Eldritch Blasts down at him. And that'll be with advantage since he's blind.
I saw that guy.
So that's the first one. And then my Elven Accuracy gives me an additional... I have to double check that. I might not have written it down. Additional damage die, I believe, when I have advantage on my attacks.
Was that a feat?
Yeah, it's a feat. I can't remember. It's a buff of some sort.
Elvish accuracy is...
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely gives you something.
I've annotated all of my books, so see if I can use
I wrote down Elvish Accuracy. It's in the Xanatar's guide, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I
don't have Xanathar's right next to me. Okay.
So we'll go with that first now. So 11 plus an additional D10. Oop, there we go. For the first attack. So 21 for the first bolt.
Okay.
And then second bolt probably hits as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that Eldritch Accuracy probably only does once per round. So this one will just be 12.
Woo!
Yeah, it's whenever you have advantage on an attack roll using Dexterity, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, you can re-roll one of the dice once.
Oh, okay. How would that work with this? So because it rolls it all together and adds it up, eh?
Yeah, I guess you can, when you hover over the dice roll, you can see what it rolled, and you can re-roll one of those dice if you like.
Okay. I'll figure that out for next time, but we'll do that for
like
now.
I'm saying it rolled 1d10 plus 4, which was 7. It rolled a 7 plus 4 on your first roll, and it rolled an 8 plus 4 on your second one.
Well,
you can use that to replace the 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that next time. So take that for now.
All right. So yeah, you blast this blind dino as it's going to shake Cyrus back and forth in a very predatory way. But you blast it kind of on either side of its head. It's getting a lot of stimuli at this point, and none of it's pleasant. All right, we're now back to top of the order. Rami.
Okay. Well, lightning didn't work, so we're going to move to a new element, and we are going to try fire. Let's see here. We are going to do...
It's what helped cavemen fight dinosaurs.
What kind of save does it have to make? I don't know. We're going to cast Burning Hands.
15 foot cube.
Cone?
Well, no, that's not useful. Is that I just rolled the damage. It didn't roll to see if it attacked it. Okay. Well, let me just type it up by hand.
He has to make a
probably
dex
rolls
save.
a save, yeah.
It says to make a...
There's no attack roll with Burning Hands.
Oh, I was thinking a firebolt. You have to roll the attack. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're good.
Yeah, he has to make a dex save.
I think he has disadvantage from being blind on dex saves. Is that right?
Yeah, I would imagine he's not going to see it coming. All right.
Go, Rami. Go, Rami. Burn the motherfucker.
All right, yeah, I'll
Hey,
imagine that's going to
fail.
get hit.
All right, he failed. Yeah. And yeah, so we can
So
just
8 points of fire damage?
Yeah. Set him
Okay.
on fire.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you could, 15-foot cone. Cyrus is going to feel the heat, but he's not going to take any damage necessarily. I think that the dino's getting cooked from the outside. This isn't a microwave, so
I've
Cyrus
got cover in his mouth.
Yes.
You know, if you want, one of my meta magic things for sorcerer is I can make sure that he can automatically succeed and not get hurt by it.
It's all good. The saliva is keeping him
there we go.
from catching fire.
I don't know if I'd rather be on fire than that, but you know.
Yeah, out of the T-Rex mouth into the fire. Okay, we are now to Cyrus. It is your turn. So you're
to escape, is it an athletics check?
Yeah, you can do athletics or acrobatics, but it is DC 17.
Okay. I'll give that a try. Hey.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So I get out of the mouth.
Yeah, it's chomping on you, but with the armor, it's an unpleasant chomp, and you're able pretty easily to kind of drive an elbow into the roof of this thing's mouth, and it kind of plops you out like a hairball from a cat. You're now covered in T-Rex saliva and a little bit of blood, but you're a paladin. When this is a Tuesday, it's a Monday. Yeah, so you have the. You can use the rest of your turn for a bonus action, or you can use it for movement if you'd like.
Yeah, let me see what my bonus actions are. I can cast a spell.
Heal yourself.
I can't do that on a bonus.
Ah.
I'll cast Thunderous Smite.
Okay.
I think. Okay, yeah, that put it in the chat. So I'm concentrating on that for a minute, and then it'll activate next time I hit. And I'll back off of it just a little bit, like 10 feet away or so.
All right. And how long did your blinding last?
It's the end of its next turn, so it'll be blind for one more turn.
Okay. All right. So the T-Rex is still blinded. It has lost what was whatever in its mouth. It can't see the Pegasus can't really see anything. It's trying to use its sense of smell. There's a lot of different smells going on. It's going to kind of chomp uselessly up towards Morag because it sensed where the bolts were coming from. It can kind of smell that there's something flying up there, but you're too far away. It chomps. That's it. So that is the end of its turn as its eyes go from a covered white back to its natural terrifying lizardy look, and it is now Peg's turn again. Peg is going to once again try to break the chains, and it is not going to succeed. It's going to kick again. Yeah, unfortunately, that Peg is still trapped, and it is Kyle. Your turn again.
Aha. Okay, so I guess I'm going to. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to get this. We'll see. We'll see what happens. They seem to have things under control, so I think I'm going to.
Loose definition of control.
Yeah. Well, they need my help, or do I keep saving? I mean, Mr. Cyrus said that I should save them, so that's what I'll do. I'll go up for the second halfling, use the rest of whatever movement that I needed to get back to him, and also order Ahab to kind of float over, and we'll do the same thing again. Hook him up and yank him back to safety.
Cool.
How's a Pegasus? What's the Pegasus doing? Sorry, I did miss a couple turns there.
No, you're okay. The Pegasus was injured once by the tail attack from the T-Rex, but it's broken free one of its legs. The other leg, it still hasn't been able to break free from. It's kind of freaking out because as the T-Rex has regained its eyesight, it's kind of trying to pick and choose between the overly crunchy paladin that didn't taste very good. Pegasus is probably going to be a little bit softer. So it's prey that's been backed into a corner. It's not doing great.
Okay. Fuck. All right, and I did just miss its next check to try to get out, didn't I? All right, so we will. Yeah, I'll just yank this halfling out. We'll do another
Yeah.
shitty.
As
athletics
you
check.
you hook this halfling to Ahab, this one actually stirs and turns around and kind of grabs for you and goes, "But don't kill it, please. It doesn't mean it. It's just hungry."
I'm sure. I'm sure, sir. Let's get out of here, and you can talk all about it in a minute. Just come on, dude. Come on. Now we'll.
All right, make another strength roll.
Okay. Ahab, put your port side into it. 13.
You are kind of dragging this halfling, but it's gonna be half movement on this one. This halfling is kind of trying to actually almost fight you in a way. He's like, "No, please don't kill it. No, he's not a bad boy. He's a good boy." And he's trying to almost kind of get to the cage area where the it seems like the T-Rex escaped from. So you're able to move it, I guess about 10 feet, but you're kind of almost like within eyesight of the T-Rex now, as this halfling has kind of hindered your motion.
Okay.
Anything else for your turn?
Nope. That's it. That's all I can do.
Okay. And we are now to Mourning.
It's still blind at this point.
It is not blind. No, it is.
No, okay.
It is seen clearly.
Does it look like it could easily eat the Pegasus if the Pegasus were dead?
I guess yeah. Yeah. If the Pegasus were dead, it could probably definitely eat it.
Did
Oh,
I
boy.
hear? Did I hear that halfling say it was hungry? Or am I too far away? I am up in the air.
You could make a perception check and see if that's something you might have heard.
Okay.
It is storming. It's raining. You are up in the air, so we'll see if you would have heard it.
My perception is kind of low, but yeah, this is...
You didn't catch necessarily the hungry part. You heard the part about it being a good boy and not to kill it.
Okay. I will be a bit conflicted, and I will attempt to cast Charm Monster on it again, which it will have advantage this time.
Okay.
So it needs to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Oh.
So I have 15, so it just succeeds.
Okay.
Fuck. Never mind. I can't help. I can't.
You can't downgrade that.
I can't downgrade. I can only help
Yep.
us. I can't hinder it. I don't. Let me double check the rolling. Let me double check. When another creature you can see within 30 feet makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to. Can use this feature to modify the roll. Oh. Okay. Hold on. Derek, I need a ruling question from our awesome DM. So, when you
Call him.
or another creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to, never mind, to add your intelligence modifier. Never mind, disregard. Fuck. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, this thing's strong and I respect it.
That's,
Wild beast from the Talenta Plains.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We're back. Go ahead.
I'll move down, still out of its range, but I'll move down closer to the ground, possibly to help evacuate people on the next round if something goes down. So I'm a little bit lower in this guy this time.
Sure. All right. Back to top of the order with Remiel.
I have a couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
The Pegasus, is it in a cage or is it just chained? Like, is there anything above it?
It is kind of almost in front of its cage. There is nothing above it, but it almost like as the chain lets it extend to where it can get its full body out of the cage, but no further.
And so the chain is then, like, attached to the ground or something, then? It's not
attached
just
to
like...
what you would imagine is probably a point inside of the cage, probably the back, or maybe, a point on the ground. You can't necessarily see that.
Okay. I had an idea, but if it's attached to the ground, I can't really help.
What was your idea?
I was going to... I can speak Celestial, and I think that's what, like, Pegasi, they actually can't understand. Language of this, she was going to...
Yes.
I think that's unicorns.
Pegasi can understand Celestial, Common,
Oh.
Elvish, and Sylvan, but they cannot speak. They are not Mr.
She was
Eds.
going to try to warn it, like, I'm going to help you, so it doesn't try to fight her. And she's going to cast Levitate to, like, just get it up into the air, like, away from the thing. But if it's actually chained it down.
Yeah, you would. If it could fly, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea, though.
I'd try it on the dinosaur, but it has to make a Constitution save, and I think that thing has pretty high
Like
Constitution.
flying T-Rex.
Well,
Exacerbate
no,
our
it's just
problems.
suspended.
Yeah.
It's just suspended. It can't like get around. It's just up in the air unless it finds something to kick from. But,
I just imagine the T-Rex head just slowly lifting towards Morag. Just
Yeah, I'd be like, ah!
Well, instead, then I guess she will just. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. That was
You're
not
fine.
my idea. She's going to still try to help out as best she can, and it may end up hindering, but she's young and doesn't understand how some things work, so she's just trying her best. She's gonna cast darkness on centered, like right on the T-Rex, so hopefully it can't see, but she can see.
okay.
So she's just like, maybe that'll help it not hurt the Pegasus.
Yeah.
See if we put that in there for you.
All right. So we have a 60-foot. Was this a sphere, right?
It's
Yeah.
a 15-foot sphere.
15 foot.
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry.
the
It's
range
within
is
60.
60
That's
feet.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so 15-foot sphere, which is now encircled this T-Rex and effectively Cyrus as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even if you have
And
dark vision,
actually-
you can see it.
I don't think that's how careful spell works because there's no save for it. Never mind.
All right. Well, you've created a pall of darkness now over this creature. Anything else for your turn?
No, she's just like skittish and just trying her best.
She's doing fine. All right, Cyrus, it is your turn. You are now slightly concerned that maybe you have been blinded, as an entire kind of field of darkness has encircled you, and from what you can hear and smell, a very angry, big, hungry lizard.
So she casts darkness, but that's a spell I have, so I should know kind of what's going on, right?
Yeah. If you would recognize what was happening, that's absolutely reasonable.
I'll try and back out of it to where I can see again. Is that
Sure.
possible? Okay.
Yeah. The T-Rex can't see you, so I'm going to say there's no attack of opportunity on there. Yeah, you get outside the area where the T-Rex is still encircled. What would you like to do?
I'll use lay on hands on myself for 20.
Okay.
The first bite
Go
is
back
the
up a little bit.
deepest.
Hmm.
Baby, I know.
Okay. And I think that will be my turn.
All right, and you still have the smite spell, thunder
Yeah,
smite.
it's
prepared,
ready to go, and I'm
Right.
I'm kind of just like ready for it to come out of the darkness. I'll attack it if I get it a chance to.
Cool. We'll consider that your. Is lay on hands in action?
It's a full action, yeah. So
Okay,
I'm not preparing anything. I'm just
Gotcha.
ready.
All right. And now it is Rexy's turn. Let's see. Rexy is encircled by darkness, probably pretty confused, a little beat up.
Does he have a leather collar with a little medallion that says Rexy on it?
You know, actually, yes, there actually are several types of almost harnesses or leather straps that are around this. It does. The Talenta halflings even kind of wear very dinosaur-like clothing. The suspenders are made from like dinosaur scales. They have like velociraptor skulls they use kind of like as helmets or masks. So they're really into the whole dinosaur theme.
They're super cool.
They are super. Okay. Rexy, I think, is going to take a step forward. It's going to try to use its sense of smell, and it's going to actually move away from the Pegasus now, and towards I guess the rest of you. What is its move. It does have a speed of 50 feet. Yeah, I think it's probably going to go charging out from the shadows. And I guess at this point, if Cyrus does have an attack of opportunity, you can use it. It's not going to notice you, and it's going to run past you. So if you have attack of opportunity, you certainly can do that.
Well, let's roll it.
All right.
21 should hit, right?
Mhm.
Sorry, Dino, this is gonna hurt. So
Click on
that's
click
the
on
damage.
click on the word radiant longsword in chat. Like you see how it says radiant
Like
longsword
on the
plus
right
one?
side, if you
Oh,
highlight.
like there?
Yeah, there
Okay,
you go.
cool.
It'll
There you go.
automatically roll your damage for you.
Okay, so that was for that damage, and then the smite does 2d10, 2d6. So we'll just roll that over here. So that's the thunder damage
Ugh.
from the smite.
Okay.
And then it needs to make a strength saving throw, or be pushed 10 feet and knocked prone.
Ooh.
And the DC, I think, for me is 14. Yeah.
You know, this thing has a strength of 25, but yeah, it rolled a 10. Yeah, so you you knock this thing back. Was it 10 feet?
Yeah, 10 feet push, and then also prone.
Yeah, so you're, I guess, in comparison to a near adult T-Rex, not exactly particularly large. But somehow, as this thing goes to run past you, it's locked onto Ramiel and Midge with his halfling, the two halflings that he saved. You yeet this thing with a thunderous smite, and it goes knocked back and falls prone inside of the darkness that actually is still remaining. And yeah, that is the end of its turn.
There's also a really loud thunder clap that goes with it that can be heard 300 feet away.
It is heard, and you can't necessarily see once it's knocked into the darkness whether it's gotten back up or not. But it doesn't come back out at this point.
Okay.
And we are at Peg's turn. Peg is actually going to, seeing the darkness, it is going to move inside of its cage, and it's going to try to use the dodge action, just in case this T-Rex tends to come after it. I think it's given up on breaking the chain at this point. And we're now at Kyle's turn.
Okay. Well, what's this halfling that I've been trying to yank out of the danger zone? What's he up to?
Yeah, you guys made it about 10 feet. He's still trying to get towards the T-Rex, but hasn't. He's fighting you, not super hard, but yeah, if you're looking to keep pulling him, you can do a strength check, or you can.
Fuck that. I'm gonna say fuck you, buddy. Never mind. I tried. I tried. I really did. Hey, Ahab, come on to action. Well, not too close. Don't Ahab, don't get too close. We don't want to be too close to danger. Just come here and help. Let's see here. What are we gonna do? Okay, because I wasn't sure what to do based on what this fella's doing. So, you just healed. Cyrus just healed up.
A little bit,
So
yeah.
I'm not that concerned. The creature just fled, or was thrown back into the darkness. So there's really nothing to do there. I guess I will. That'll be a disadvantage. Fudge. All right. I guess since there's really nothing that important to do, I will throw a firebolt into the darkness.
Okay.
And also use my bonus action to command Ahab to use his little tiny cannon to shoot into the darkness as well. Ahab,
Sure.
on 3, fire! And we're both going to shoot into the darkness. Yes, that's what we'll do. Fuck. I will add 4 onto mine.
Okay.
I will add, what's it called? Yes. I will inspire myself. Damn it.
Flash
What's
of
it called?
Genius?
Flash of Genius. There we go.
Yeah.
use another one of my Flash of Geniuses to add 4 onto mine to make it 13 because meta, and also tell Ahab to shoot, which his modifier is giggity. What's his attack? Force empowered rend. Okay. So I actually could use your advice on this, Derek. So, normally his force powered rend is a +4 to hit, but with Might of the Master, it says the following numbers increase by 1 when your proficiency bonus increases by 1. So does that count? When does that start increasing? Do you see what I'm saying? When does that start?
Proficiency bonus is added by 1?
We're at 3
so
now.
that just means like when your proficiency bonus goes from like 2 to 3. So yeah, if you have anything above a +2 proficiency, it's
Okay.
an additional 1 to.
Okay, so
whatever
it
that
doesn't
roll
count the 2. It's just straight up when it hits 3, then you count the 1. Okay.
I think that's what it's saying.
I think that's what I figured too, but I wanted to make sure that if it's not counting from you from 0 or from you from 2, because you start with a proficiency bonus of 2, I figured that's the way it was. Okay, so that's a +5 to hit for Ahab. I'll roll that. +5. Oh, Ahab. I can't help him. Yeah, we both fire into the darkness.
All right. What's damage for both?
He is a 12 gonna hit?
You don't know. It's in darkness.
Oh, okay. Sure. 18 for me.
Okay.
And actually, I have to roll disadvantage for Ahab. My apologies. Okay, so I'm sure that's not gonna hit. The 7 to hit for Ahab.
Okay. So 12 and a 7, so 19 in total.
Well, no. The 7 was the second roll because he has a.
Oh, that's right. It's okay.
We have to roll with
Yeah.
disadvantage because we
18 and
can't
7,
see
that's
him.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah, so I'm just.
All right. So
assuming
yeah,
this-
the 2 shots fire towards the darkness. As soon as they hit the outer wall of darkness, you can't see them. Even the firebolt is, as far as you know, extinguished. You don't necessarily hear anything, but yeah, you're not sure whether they connect or not. You can't really. You're not sure what's going on inside there. Okay. Now we are to. Sorry. Anything else?
Oh no, I was gonna move up beside Cyrus.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, you and Cyrus are just outside of the darkness now, and we are to Morag.
Okay. Question A.
Mhm.
Is darkness a concentration spell?
Is it?
Yes.
And you can drop a concentration spell as a free action anytime, or does it have to be on Ramiel's turn?
Depends on the spell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It'll say on the spell. Otherwise, I believe it's free.
It just
Unless it
says
says-
concentration up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think when you're concentrating a spell, you can drop it at any time. So, question 2. Does it look like, are there halflings that are up and are like gathering up like hooks and chains to try to recapture this thing at all? Or are they all like wiped out?
You don't actually see any. When you first arrived, there were some that were gathering spears and things like that. But from where you're from, you can. Well, you are up above. You can see that there's actually a couple that are trying to work on the back of the cage and trying to repair it.
Okay. I'm not that smart, but I want to try something.
Okay.
And it's all based on Ramiel. So I shout down and I go, "Maiden, drop the darkness." And if she does it, then I'll try my thing. If she doesn't, then I will do something else.
It may take her a second. She's a little spooked at a voice coming from above.
Yeah, I mean, you look up and there's literally a witch. She's riding a broom. She has a white broom hat. She's green. She is everything that your mom was like, oh, this is going to come and eat you someday.
In all honesty, it might just be the sheer shock of like being startled and looking up and seeing this thing that makes her drop her concentration on it. So yeah. Sure.
Okay. So the darkness falls, and
Okay.
you see the T-Rex was using the darkness to try to kind of almost hide. It's kind of almost tucked its tail around itself, and it was using kind of the darkness to kind of cover down in. You do see a scorch mark, which probably came from Midge, but no other serious damage at this point.
I've got one more last charm effect.
Okay.
So the Fey presence that I have, I'm going to fly down within 10 feet, and I'm going to like exude this wave of charm energy out from my body, and I'm going to attempt to charm this one last time. And as I say this or do this, I say, we only have 6 seconds to get this thing under control if this works. And so it needs to make another DC. This is my racial ability this time. So
Okay.
it'll be charmed for 1 round if it fails. And it doesn't, it's just a flat roll this time.
Okay, and it's a what save?
DC Wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah, 15.
Hey, there you go.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. So I'm like, quickly! It's not gonna do anything. And it's like I like start singing to it in this like weird haggy kind of language, and I'm like, shh. The grandmothers will bless you, child. And it kind of like its eyes go blank like in an anime for 6 seconds.
Okay. Within 6 seconds, this dinosaur didn't get actually that far, and even if it did, it has 50 feet of movement. It turns and heads back into its cage. I guess is anyone trying to close it?
Yeah, if we're close, Midge and I can go run over there and see if we can figure it out.
Yeah. Actually, you go to close the cage. You notice that it's still in working order. From what you can tell, this wasn't. Actually, I'm going to say if you would like to, you can make an investigation check if you'd like to learn more about this cage. But you have locked up this T-Rex now.
Ooh.
Yeah, Midge, why don't you take a look at it and make sure that the cage will still function? We don't want
Sure.
another breakout.
Finally, something I can do. Yes, technical in nature. I will take a look. What would you like me to look with? Just a regular investigation check?
Yeah, that's probably best.
Okay. It's pretty big.
You can tell that this cage wasn't broken open. It was opened maybe intentionally, but this wasn't busted open, because as soon as you close it, you're able to put the bone-like ribcage pin back in the slot. This T-Rex didn't push its way out, but you can't really tell much more than that. Like I said, this cage itself is almost kind of made of like bone and leather and sinew and that kind of stuff, but there's a magical hint to it. But yeah, this wasn't broken open by force.
Okay.
And yeah, you're now on this lift, which has stopped. A number of halflings, all kind of dressed in various dinosaur-like garb, all come out, and they're like, "Wow, you did a really good job. That's crazy." Yeah.
Are all of their guys okay? Is anyone like injured, needing assistance?
The one that was fighting with Midge went to check on the other one that he saved. You kind of look over, and they're waking up from unconsciousness now. But yeah, as far as you can tell, when the T-Rex first came out, they probably just got knocked out by the cage being swung open with such force.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's dead. Dang it. I need some blood.
Nobody's dead. You still have a Pegasus, which is kind of trotted out from its cage now, seeing that the danger.
Very concerned with the Pegasus and like doesn't care too much to make sure the dinosaur's in its cage, so she just goes like trotting over to the horse just to like gently like start quietly talking to it in Celestial and just trying to like pet it like it's okay. You're okay now.
It definitely seems to enjoy it, but it still is kind of kicking at that back right leg that's enchained.
She's just I don't know if I can help you. You might belong to somebody.
Mr. Cyrus, someone let this thing out. It didn't break out. Look here and here at the fracture marks. This is clearly done from the outside.
Do these halfling boys know anything about this? Did one of them accidentally let it out? It's very irresponsible of them.
I don't know. They won't tell me anything. They didn't like me. Maybe you're a lot bigger. Maybe you could punch them in the ear or something. Or maybe one of these. Actually, that lady's the stuff of nightmares. Maybe the lady talking to the Pegasus will be nice enough to talk to them.
I'll go talk to them real quick. So, do they know anything about how this all happened?
Yeah, so what are you asking them?
Just, what happened? Just their side of the story real quick. Like, how did this come about?
Well, we were taking the big boy there. He's, in a few months, they have the hunt in the city where they release some sort of horrible creature, and everybody gets together and hunts it down, and that's what this fellow was kind of being brought in for, so they could feed him and make him big and tough and angry. But yeah, we brought him in by ship, and he was sedated. I guess he woke up. None of us would have opened this. This is our livelihood. He could have killed a lot of people before he was supposed to, and that's just that doesn't look good on us.
Yeah, it'd be terrible if someone died before he was supposed to kill someone.
I know.
Can I roll an insight on these guys? See if they're
Certainly.
like legit. I didn't do terribly well.
As far as you can tell, they are being perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a number of them surrounding you now. Like I said, they all kind of have different dinosaur skulls and pieces of bone and leather and whatever else. The one you're talking to has almost like a pterosaur, kind of really pointed beak skull that he's kind of almost wags that he's talking to you.
Okay. Well, they seem on the level, and there's no other clues. You didn't see anything else, did you, Midge?
No. This is it's a pretty primitive design for a cage for a giant death monster, but no. Other than that, I didn't see anything ill tamperings.
Yeah, that's really judgmental. It worked until somebody else opened it.
Fair enough. I mean, we all know about the Talenta halflings, right? Like, they're known as dinosaur handlers. That's their thing.
Well,
Yes. The halflings in Eberron are particularly the main subsect of them. Don't live in cozy little holes in the ground. They ride dinosaurs and clawfoots on the open plains and wear dinosaur bones and skulls. This is very far from Frodo and Bilbo. This is
Yeah, these guys know their stuff. Like, they wouldn't have.
Does he
screwed up
look
on
like
purpose.
the head, like the leader of this little guy that's talking? Does he look like he's in charge?
Yeah, as far as you can tell, there's not a lot of identifiers on these guys. But he seems to be doing most of the talking, the one with the pterosaur skull.
I walk up to them and I look down at him and I go, "You will compensate us for work here today." And I'll make an intimidation roll.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Eight.
I did not prepare anything for these guys, but I'm going to say that 18 is probably pretty intimidating. And he looks up and he goes, "All right, fuck. I got it. We can give you guys a ride if you like on some pterosaurs. You heading somewhere?"
Oh, yeah, the bridges have all been out. This would actually be pretty helpful.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. It's probably... You know what? I bet you whoever knocked out those bridges did this T-Rex thing.
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if you want to ride on a pterosaur, we can fly you wherever you need to go. As long as you're not going too far.
Midge and I are heading towards House Kenneth's tower.
Oh yeah, that's real up there. Yeah, we can drop you off.
That'd be great.
I am also headed in that direction.
That makes me nervous.
Weird coincidence. What about you, horse girl?
I take offense to that, Derek.
It's okay. My mom's a horse girl. I can say it.
She's just kind of like half zoned out, not necessarily like I'm not a part of this conversation. She's just petting it on its nose, and then she's like, huh? Yes, I am going up as well.
Hey, weird fucking coincidence. All right. Yeah, if y'all want to ride on some pterosaurs, we can do that.
What about this one? Can we not take? I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but can we not take her?
You take a brief glance. It's a girl. Well, that one doesn't belong to us. That one belongs to probably House Vidalis, and honestly, I don't know. I never really agreed with them breeding Pegasi and whatnot. They can get behind hippogriffs and griffins and even bullets, but Pegasi weren't meant to be tamed.
In such poor conditions, she's very unhappy.
I will put it out of its misery.
Do not kill her.
Whoa, we went dark fast. All right.
Yep. That escalated quickly.
I mean, I don't see anybody from House Vidalis right now. If you want to let it go, I won't tell nobody.
She's very conflicted. What's it gonna do if it's all by itself, though, and doesn't have anyone to help take care of it if it's been raised in captivity?
Oh no, Pegasi like this, they don't get raised in captivity. This one was caught. They're probably taking this one to go get bread.
Oh,
Not like get like sandwiches, but like get breeding with.
If she can, like, find a way, she will just like definitely try to let it go.
Yeah.
Set it free. Yeah.
You look towards the back of the cage. Jane seems to have a release latch.
Yeah, she just tells it like, "I'm going to let you go." Just sneaks into the cage and just opens it.
Okay. Yeah, this Pegasus trots out. Jane's still dangling by its hooves, but it turns back to you, and it's understood everything you've said, and it nods, and spreads its wings, and flies off towards the sea. It's very majestic.
I'm sure it'll come back and like save us in some sort of encounter later.
Yeah.
Is this Chekhov's Pegasus? Maybe. But yeah, no, it's incredibly majestic. Even though it's storming, it's raining, the clouds part just briefly, and a ray of sunshine cuts through, and just as the wings spread, all the water pellets and everything, it's beautiful. It's Lisa Frank. There you go. All right. Well, the halflings have gathered a group of pterosaurs that aren't particularly large, and already have a halfling on each of them. But they're kind of like, "Come on, you can ride in the bitch seat."
I will fly on my broom.
Yeah, suit yourself.
Is it gonna be able to carry me? I'm wearing like full plate armor.
We're gonna find out.
That's what you want to hear. Okay, well let's go, I guess.
All right. So each of you mount your particular pterosaurs. I guess. So I guess Morag is not, but yeah, Midge, you get behind one that has it's wearing a bone helmet that has a crest kind of on top of it. You recognize it's the Dilophosaurus. Cyrus, you get behind what you presume to be the leader, wearing the pterosaur skull, which is weird sort of irony, I suppose. And Ramiel, you get on one that is wearing one that's very sharp tooth, some sort of predator, and they all take flight. Cyrus, yours drops like a stone for a second, but it's able to flap pretty hard, and it's able to take flight. And yeah, you all kind of bob and weave as you're moving through the different bridges, and you kind of see people, pointing. You hear, exasperated sounds, but yeah, I mean, all sorts of things flying between the towers of Sharn. This isn't anything new. And before too long, you've saved yourself a lot of time, and you have gotten to the top tower district, and you are amongst the dragon marked houses. And you find yourself on an open, I guess, walkway is the best way to put it. It kind of spreads out almost like a branch, with each of these paths leading to all these various different tower houses of these Dragonmark houses. And each of them features different banners on the outside and almost a different structure to them as well. You see the very familiar now House Vidalis with the, and then I made a cheat sheet, so with the hippogriff symbol on it. You see the Dragon of House Tharashk. You see Hydra of House Fjarlan. There's every one of them is represented here. Gondala, Denith. And before too long, you find yourself at House Cannith. House Cannith is more of a domed tower than it is a pointed one. And you see that even above the entrance where you presume you'll be going in, the top of the dome tower is laced with glass, and yeah, the very familiar banner shows the metal bull gorgon emblazoned all over the sides of this tower. And you've now landed. The halflings turn to you and go, and thanks again with Rexy. If you're back here in a few months, definitely participate in the hunt. I'm sure he'll remember you. Be lots of fun.
I feel like it would be bad to kill him now that we're like friends.
Rexy lived a long, full life of eating lots and lots of things. If anything, it's an honor to put him in an arena where he can be himself and eat some people that are trying to kill him. Not a lot of T-Rexes get that, but yeah,
This is a strange place.
Welcome to Sean, and they go flying off. So you are now standing in front of the tower of House Cannith. Are you guys going in, or is there anywhere else you guys would like to do? Anything you'd like to see?
I'd like to say I'll join you all in a second and go off by myself for a second.
All right.
And I'm checking my armor because it got probably munched a little bit, and I just want to make sure that my aberrant dragon mark is completely covered and there's no trace of it being shown.
Where is your aberrant dragon mark on your body?
I was thinking probably chest, one side, maybe shoulder, chest area.
Okay. And you have adamantine plate,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So even though you got a couple of holes poked into plate, you still have I'm assuming the chainmail underneath. That's all how I kind of imagined plate mail to be. It's a lot of armor. So yeah, it's still mostly covered. You couldn't see it unless you were really, really looking pretty. Unless you knew where to look.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
I'm really just kind of nervous about it. Just wanted to double check, make sure I didn't do something incredibly dumb and walk in showing it.
No, sure, absolutely.
Perhaps, unbeknownst to Cyrus, Rami's actually doing something very similar. She's just brushing her hair down, making sure her cloak of elvenkind hood is pulled up very high and cinched well. And
yeah, where is while we're on the subject? Where is Rami's dragon mark?
Hers is. I have my bangs on the wrong side, but hers is on her left cheek, kind of spreading up towards her nose and going under her eye.
Oh, so pretty obvious. Okay.
It's very obvious. So she flips the hair. She keeps her bangs really low.
So, for those of you that are once again newer to Eberron, dragon marks are magical marks that are particular to wealthy houses. They appear in about 50%, maybe a little less than the population of every house, and the houses have used them over the centuries to use their magic to get a bunch of wealth. They appear kind of in game as variant versions of races, whether it be a variant human, variant half elf, or sub races for dwarves. And then for Cyrus, he has an aberrant dragon mark, which means that it's not any part of any of the houses, and it's kind of frowned upon. It's seen as a mark of chaos and darkness and potential destruction. The people in the past who have had aberrant dragon marks have done a lot of damage to the world of Eberron. So they're kind of there's a lot of fear behind them. But Kay, Ramiel has a mark of House Lyrandar, which is a mark of the storm.
Yep.
And that that'll be for different powers and stuff. All right. Yeah. So if you guys are all good, you go. Plop on the stones towards the entrance of the tower. There's an attendant standing there in front of the door. He's dressed rather finely. There's an awning which has kept him dry, and you see a couple of Warforged actually standing guard. And the attendant is human. He's middle-aged man, dark hair, a pointed mustache and beard, and he looks to you all and he says, hello. You're an assortment, aren't you? Is there something I can help you with?
Do we have a physical invitation, or was it
You
just
do.
a verbal one? Okay.
You did receive a letter which had the Gorgon seal on it.
Okay.
I hold up
Hold that out.
hold up my letter and say, "My coming was foretold." I hold it up.
Jeez.
And he takes it and he goes, "Oh, how terribly ominous." And he looks at it and he goes, "I see. Well, come on inside then." And he opens the double doors and leads you inside a massive hall, which the floors are made of marble, several columns, ever bright lanterns lit the entire area. There's several potted plants which have benches along. For all purposes, this almost seems like a museum. There's paintings that cover the wall which feature battles, and several paintings which feature rather wealthy looking people. And the entire space is predominantly empty. There's a couple individuals that you would assume would probably be attendants, maybe servants, which are going about their duties. But aside from all of them, up a few steps on a slightly raised level at the very center is a figure standing in front of one of these paintings. The painting itself is of a middle-aged man. He has graying streaks in his dark black hair and a full beard, and he's looking not necessarily sternly. You see a lot of the other paintings have very stern looks on their faces, but there's a kind look to his eyes, and on his lap he's holding several tinker's tools and smithing tools, and the portrait is of him sitting, and there's a kind smile on his face, and like I said, in front of him is a figure who has his back turned to you. And the attendant leads you further in up the steps and a few feet away from this individual. And he says, Lord Marix. Lord Marix. And the individual turns his head just slightly. I believe your guests have arrived. And the person that turns around is a younger man. And he is dressed very finely. He has a high collar. He's wearing almost a decorative type of metallic breastplate underneath, longer flowing coat. He's wearing pince-nez, and which the glasses that pinch your nose, and he has it's not necessarily a crown. It's more like a metallic laurel, which wraps around his ears and almost curves up in front of his face, almost in the sense of horns. And he turns around. He's maybe in his mid-20s, And he looks to all of you and he goes, "Well, I see my invitations made it successfully. Welcome. I am Merrix de Kenneth II. Welcome to House Kenneth."
Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you for granting me entrance to your private quarters.
What?
Wow.
I like to say things creepily.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having us.
We don't know her. Just wanted to get that out in the open air. I don't know who that is. I've never met her before today.
I
Don't
would actually assume
endorse
that
anything
not
she says.
many of you know each other. I think that maybe one or two of you, perhaps, but that's how I planned it, to be honest. You're all likely wondering why you've been invited, and perhaps some of you are a bit nervous, I'd imagine.
No.
Well, the houses are known to have their own motives in regards to everything, so
Absolutely.
it's hard to know when to trust one.
I could not agree more. Would any of you like to roll a history check to learn more about, see if you can recall anything about House Kenneth?
Yeah. I know these motherfuckers. Well, not as good as he does, but
Apparently, I know all about some.
yeah. No, not near as good as he does, or she does, or anyone. Whatever. Fuck it.
I don't think Morag would. I'm pretty sure she probably got a crash course on things, but she's got not so much intelligence, so she probably wouldn't recall stuff like that.
Okay.
Most of Cyrus's knowledge would probably be military stuff, like
Sure.
how the Warforged fight, how they were created, that kind of stuff.
So, Cyrus, you would know actually quite a bit about them because you faced the Warforged head on, and you would know that House Kenneth were the creators of the Warforged. The Warforged being these beings, humanoid beings, made of metal and stone and wood that have been granted sentience and essentially a life and a soul by magic. The earliest Warforged were basically robots. They didn't have any life or thought to them. But you would know, with a role like that, that Merrix's father, the man in the painting in front of you, was the first to essentially give sentience to the Warforged, and he's definitely known for that. You would also know that he died in the Mourning. That was, and I'm sure, Aaron de Kenneth. And you would also know that House Kenneth helped create most of the inventions that Eberron is really has benefited from. They helped invent the lightning rail. They helped invent airships. But since the time of the war, other houses have taken over these things, and House Kenneth, having lost its patriarch, fractured into three and is now struggling to stay afloat financially and with any sense of creativity.
Their main base was in Sire, right?
It was. The House Kenneth was basically from Sire. That's where their headquarters was. Most of the cities in Sire had a major presence of House Kenneth. And now there are three who are vying for control. There was Aaron's, I guess, mother-in-law. No, his aunt, his aunt by marriage, his niece. I'm trying to remember how all this family works. There's a niece, a brother, and his son. There we go. They all walk into a bar. No.
It was a Jerry Springer episode that took care of it all.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
Not my baby.
So yes, his niece by a second marriage, his brother and his son all now vie for control. So yes, Merrix is also known for his kind of inventions and creativity with Warforged, but since the signing of the the Treaty of Thronehold, creating Warforged is outlawed. Warforged are freed beings, and basically experimenting with them or on them is pretty darn illegal. Let's see who else rolled really well. So, Rami, you would know that aside from any of that, that they are definitely powerful in the city. They still have a lot of clout and a lot of wealth that they pass around. But there's definitely rumors that, especially as you walk near the rail lines, you walk near the airships. There's rumors that House Cannith has definitely lost a lot of its power, and it's one of the weaker houses now since the war ended. That's what you would know.
Like political power, do you mean, or
Power in
like...
almost every way. Political power is weak. Financial power is weak, and they're still in charge of manufacturing. They're still the ones that help to produce the newer airships and help to produce the newer rail or lightning rail cars, but they don't get any profit after the initial sale to the other houses. House Lyrindar operates the airships. Was it House Orion operates the lightning rail? House Cannith doesn't get anything from that, so they're still trying to find some sort of key to manufacturing that will give them a stern footing back amongst the dragon-marked houses.
Okay.
Yeah, and the separation of the three has certainly weakened the house as well.
So,
Yeah, so
why are we here? I mean, hooray! Why are we here?
That is an excellent question, and I wouldn't expect it to come from anyone else. If you all would follow me, I'd like to speak to you in private. And he nods to his attendant. The attendant goes back to what you imagine would probably be guarding the front door again. And he leads you all through a side room, which opens to a massive glass half dome, which overlooks the city of Sharn. Which, even though it's raining, you're up high enough. It's an amazing sight. It's absolutely beautiful. There's birds flying. You actually see a Tressum, which is a cat with wings, which is like flying after the birds and trying to catch them. And in this
witch familiar.
Yeah.
And in this room is an oaken desk, behind which stands a very large Ursine-looking man, very big, muscular, a lot of fuzz, what you might know as a shifter. And Merrick's walks behind the desk, and he takes a seat, and he nods to the shifter, who goes to the side, pulls up 4 chairs, and brings them before you. Says, "Please sit. I'd like to make a proposal if I could."
I wink at the shifter and then I sit.
He kind of rolls his eyes and sighs, but yeah.
Cries a little bit. I'll sit.
We do.
Grammy's this entire time just has like big scared like deer in the headlights eyes, just like, oh gosh. These people are terrifying and this is a terrifying place to be in, so she's just like
It's
very,
like being
like,
called to the principal's office.
very just like flinchy, just like thank you, and we'll take her seat and trying to like, keep small and close to herself.
So, as I mentioned before, you're probably all wondering why you're here. In fact, you've asked as such. My name, as I said, is Merrick's de Cannith II. I am one of 3 heirs to House Cannith. I don't want to be. You have to understand. I need to be. The other 2, if they were competent in the least, I would give up this political brouhaha and go about my life and continue to create and build. I'm a maker. I put things together. And that's what I'm trying to do with you. I'm trying to put you together as a team. And I'm hoping that, like many of my creations, you might be a successful one. You might have heard about House Kenneth. You might know us for our Warforged, for our trains, our ships, our many, many inventions. You also might know that we lost quite a bit in the Mourning. Some of you might have even lost something. What I've brought you here today for is to ask you if you would be willing to go into the Mourning and rejuvenate my family. Bring back something. One of our lost inventions, one of our lost notebooks, something that will help me save my familial line. If you can bring back a piece of technology, some papers, anything, I can prove that I am better than my competitors, that I am better than Jolana, that I'm better than Zola, that I am the one who deserves to be leader of House Kenneth, and I can guide us into this new century, to this new millennium.
Sir, you're asking us to go and walk into a nuclear wasteland to fetch you a trinket of your family's so that you can feel better about yourself?
I don't know what nuclear means, but no, I wouldn't suggest you walk at all. The Mourning is a horrific place. But that's why, once again, I've assembled each of you very specifically. Look at each other. Do you see...
I won't look at Morg.
Do you see anyone who owes their existence, who is indebted to me? Do you see anyone who serves me as their job?
No.
No, I did that on purpose. I brought a follower of the blood of Vol, a soldier of Karnath, Breland's enemy. I brought him to my table. I brought a half-elf with a mark that she tries desperately to hide.
This is like Studio Ghibli, like Bristle, you know, like anime bristles.
He just outed her.
It's really noticeable.
From the slums of Sharn, I brought her to my table. I brought a whatever the hell you are, and he points at Morag. From the monstrous places of Drome, I brought her to my table, and even you, Midge. I brought you, an impoverished but incredibly creative individual, to my table. Each of you serves a purpose on my team. Each of you is important, and I think that only together could you successfully go into the Mournland and recover something.
You say us.
Of course. Compensate, I think, is an understatement. If you become patronized by me, I can assure that none of you will ever live in wealth again. In fact, I'm sure there's something that each of you want. And he kind of looks down the line at you. And he looks at Midge. Wealth and security. And he looks at Morag. Knowledge. He looks at Cyrus. Belonging. Purpose. Then he looks at Rami. Control. Identity. Family. Each of you searching for something. He looks at Rami. I know that you have powers. Newer ones. Wouldn't entrance to Arcanix, the greatest magical college that our continent has to offer, benefit you in some way? He looks at Midge. I know that you've been hand to mouth for far too long. I can assure you a place in our smiths, our forges, a place where you could invent and create and be financially stable.
I'll look at Cyrus as soon as he says that. kind of not try not to consider it.
The Mourning has many mysteries, and I'm asking you to try and help me solve some, while at the same time, granted, being a little self-serving, trying to save my family while I'm at it. We still don't know what caused the Mourning, but we have had some scouts who have made it back, and what they tell us isn't particularly great. But we do know, perhaps, where there might be some identifying marks of where the Mourning began, and I can give you several locations which would have important pieces and um, notebooks, journals, all sorts of things that would help my family come back to its great days. I can tell you where these things would be, and I can help you get to them. But I need strong individuals such as yourself to endure the Mourning. I know it's a lot to ask, but I'm promising quite a bit in return.
What if we find something you'd rather we not uncover? Like, what if House Cannith was the reason the Mourning happened?
I would expect you to bring it to me. And I would expect you to trust me to do what's right. I know we've only just met, but that's all I can ask.
How can we be sure that you're going to follow up on your ends of all of these promises?
Would you prefer a contract?
Well, contracts can be torn up.
Well, how can I gain your trust then?
I stand up from my chair and I say, I have a patron, and I will ask her if this is what she wants me to do. And I walk over to his desk and I grab a vase of flowers and I dump them on the floor and I take off my girdle and I take out the bones. And this will take 11 minutes. Please do not wait on me for your own decisions. And I sit down and in my head, I beseech Sora Katra, hag of strategy and leadership. And I ask her, do you desire this of me?
While you're doing this, he kind of looks to the rest of you and goes, by the way, if you wondered what your team roles are, there's he points to Mitch, the creative one, he points to Cyrus, the warrior, he points to Remy, the powerhouse, and then he points to Morag, who is like eyes white, hands out, bones out, the wild card.
She's the wild card.
Yeah, so you get a wheel, a woe, or a mixed.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard with like a yes or no.
Mostly I'm beseeching Sora Katra herself whether this would be part of my mission that she would desire me to do. So is a whoa, yes, do this part of the mission, or wheel?
You get a yes. This is part of the mission. You do hear a voice once again. It says, "Go, but there will be dangers." And yeah, that's all you get.
All right. I start packing my bones back in my girdle and I cinch it back around my waist. I accept.
Oh, there's one.
Are we the first team you sent?
Yes. Yes, I'm not sure. Well, I am sure you're not the first to have tried to go into the Mourning. Many have tried. Most failed, but you're going in with something that most of the others didn't. Knowledge. And actually, with that, he goes, and I should actually say, you're not going totally alone with just you. And he kind of motions to the door, and you turn around. There's two others who have now walked into the room. You see a human wearing, he's younger, probably even younger than Merrick's is. He has short, cropped blonde hair, and pale complexion. He's wearing kind of darker gray robes with a very nervous look on his face. And standing over him is a warforged whose armor almost kind of has that rippled metal look like Damascus steel. And they have both now walked in and are standing behind you. And Merrick addresses them. He says, "These two will also be joining you. Pondus," and he points to the human, "is a scholar at Mulgrave University, and I believe that with his abilities, he would be able to guide you and help you basically determine if what you find is of any value. He, like you, has no personal stake in this, but I am offering to fund his research. And Whistler here actually might be the only one who has a personal stake," and he now addresses the Warforged. As you look closer at the Warforged, you actually notice that his armor isn't necessarily pristine. It has some scratches, almost what looks like some battle damage, and on either one of his shoulders, something has been stamped into the metal. On the left side is... right on there? Oh, I wrote on my other page.
A penis.
It's
Right
not
on
a
the
penis.
Right on the shoulder. Gets him every time. Nobody can take it seriously.
His right shoulder is imprinted with the Breelish crown, the symbol of the Breelish crown, and the words "First in Battle." His left shoulder is imprinted with a image of the Displacer Beast, kind of the head with some like the tentacle things, and it reads "Last to Fall." So, first in battle, last to fall. And
What
he says,
house does the Displacer Beast signify again?
"That is a good question. It's one of the Elvish ones.
Wow,
Shadow,
somebody's
maybe?
house
It
is
is-
a displacer beast?
It is Thorani. House Thorani. They are entertainment and assassination."
Ooh,
Wow.
that's fun.
Yeah, they have the Mark of Shadow, I think.
They do. But as a soldier, I think you would know. The Displacer Beast is absolutely a marking of House Thorani, but it's also used by another group, and you, as a soldier of Karnath, would recognize that that is the mascot, the symbol of the Red Cloaks, the basically high-tier Breelish military force.
Yeah, they're
And
like
that-
Secret Service almost, or whatever, right? Like they do.
Yeah, at this
special
point they
stuff.
kind of are.
Yeah.
They went from being essentially like Navy SEALs to Secret Service and like private military. But yeah, the first in battle, last to fall, you would definitely recognize that. And the Breelish crown, that all really sums up that this individual, this Warforged, was a member of the Red Cloaks. And he says Whistler, actually, interestingly, was one of the first of my father's successes. He was one of the first to gain full sentience amongst the Warforged, and distinguished himself in the wars, and he chose to come and offer his services once again. And I'm asking of him what I'm asking of you.
What do we know about the Red Cloaks? The 21 history check. Well, I'm sorry. 18 history check.
Yeah, the Red Cloaks were a Breelish military force. They wore a red cloak, which was a cloak of protection. That's kind of where they got their name. They served all throughout the last war, particularly fought against the forces of Karnath, as Breland and Karnath were kind of pretty tooth and nail, like I said before. Yeah, just high-tier military force. They since have not necessarily disbanded, but they've gone down in numbers since there isn't an ongoing war, and many of them have turned to becoming either a private military force or a national guard for Breland.
So just kind of like whisper to Cyrus, Mr. Cyrus, wasn't this like weren't they like your enemies and stuff? Didn't you fight them?
The war is over, Midge. We're not enemies anymore.
Oh,
Okay, then I'm cool with it.
I probably have more in common with him than I do with regular citizens from Karnath.
Oh, small world. Okay, so we're cool with the we're cool with the Warforged. We're cool with the elf chick, and we're cool with the nightmare horror lady over there with the bones.
Yes to the first two. The jury's still out on the last one there.
Okay.
But why us? Like, why not have House Deneth or House Thrashik do this for you?
I wouldn't trust any other dragon marked house any more than I trust my own. And I don't trust my own.
Hmm.
My house is weakened, and the other houses are like sharks in the water. They can smell the blood. If I asked any of them, they'd likely just tell me that they tried and failed and boo-hoo, and there goes either money or a favor or something else. No, I'm trusting you, a private force, a force that has no stake, nothing to, well, I say nothing to lose, but
Yeah,
it is the Mourning.
it's pretty dangerous. Do you have a way for us to deal with the fog and to travel around?
I have a plan, and certainly, if you'd like, if you're in, I'm happy to tell you.
Should we know the plan, and then we decide whether we're in?
Yeah. You have to sign your life away, and the plan is to launch you there by catapult.
No, we have cannons for that sort of thing. No, absolutely. You make a good point. And he goes to pull out his map, much as I am doing now. There's a lot of places. So he points to the map. You'll start in Sean, which is to the south of Breland. I will pay your way first class on the lightning rail. That will take you through Rote, all the way up to Staralaska. At that point, you will need to travel on foot, by carriage, or horse, some sort of mode of land transportation, of which I can arrange. From there, you will travel south to New Sire. I will actually have with you some supplies to bring to the king of New Sire. He and I have come to an arrangement, and I mean to support his endeavors to protect the people the refugees that fled Sire. From there, he will provide the rest of your transportation as you move to the edge of the Mournland, and he will give you the rest of the information at that point. Does that sound acceptable?
Can I take a glance? Being proficient with, or having expertise in cartographer's tools, can I take a look at like, is he showing us something, or is he just explaining it to us willy nilly?
Yeah, let's. He brought out a map. Yeah, he has a map.
Look at that! That guy's awesome. Can I take a look at that and kind of verify whether we're gonna be fucked
Sure.
as far as time?
Okay, I see where Staralaska is.
Ooh, yeah. I need to rip.
Yeah,
I haven't ripped that one
you're gonna
out.
start down. Yeah, you're gonna start down here, and you're gonna get up all the way up right in here, right in there.
Okay. And by taking a close look at his map, with a 23, do I glean anything that doesn't quite mesh with his explanation, like time frames or danger, like level of danger? He's just kind of like, oh, you're going to take a trip and it's going to be this long, and I'm going to give you this. Like, is there something I should be
The only thing
considering?
that you notice is in his area, which was formerly known as Sire, he has drawn in where the fog lines are. He's kind of used hashes to draw in where the fog lines are believed to be, and he's written small notes next to a number of the cities. He wrote the Source right next to Making, which he has also kind of drawn a blobbish character around, and wrote Glass. He has also put a star next to Matral, which you would know as the former capital of Sire. And he's kind of drawn in like a red splotch, an area where a lake used to be.
Okay. So it just further landmarks them, and I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, because Sire, as far as you know, no one really knows exactly what it looks like anymore. It was twisted. It was changed by the Mourning. And you also notice that there's a star next to Eston.
Okay. So these
But that's
these
go
are,
ahead.
These are what you remember of being places. Why does this have a star next to it? This one right here. I don't recognize that name.
I believe that these, at least, Metrol and Eston, are your best bets for finding something to help my family. That's where our main forges were. Making is likely, if you would find any information about what caused the Mourning. You mentioned before that House Kenneth might be behind the Mourning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt it. I think we probably were. And it's our responsibility to take responsibility for it. So certainly, I don't care which cities you go to. I only care what you bring back. I know that Eston and Metrol probably will have something there. Making, I hear, has, from our scouts and the people that have made it back, is unrecognizable. It's a city no more. But there still might be something there. I can't tell you.
Well, I can't make this decision. Mr. Cyrus? Creepy lady? Elf lady?
I will join this endeavor.
Because your bones and potted plants told you to?
The bones said yes.
That's good. Yeah, I guess this could help me with my quest. So I also think it's important for people to strive to be the best that they can be and bring out the divinity within our own blood. And I think going into the Mournland and coming back would qualify as that.
He actually, he nods towards you when you say that. He goes, I know a lot of people were affected by the Mourning. And all I want to do is help those people.
And he's saying that to me.
He's saying that to you.
Can I roll insight to see what he's like getting at?
You love those 10 insights.
I've got an advantage point. I'll use my advantage and take the 16.
Oh, okay.
There's a level of earnestness behind his voice. I want to say earnesty, but that sounds like honesty. It's pronounced wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's insight's not necessarily mind reading, but you're getting that there's an underlying message there. Maybe he knows more than he's saying, but there's, like I said, there is an honesty to it.
Cyrus says, well, if we could help those who were afflicted by House Kenneth's mistake, potentially, that would be good for everybody.
He nods.
Morag knows that only the truly desperate will go a route like this, a subversive route, a hag bargain type of deal. So she says out loud, she's like, there's no reason for him to tell us everything he knows. We'll not get it all.
You mean he's going to hold something back?
No. When you go outside of the normal venues of deal making and getting things done, there's always an element of secrecy.
Are you saying that where he can hear?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks at all of you and he goes, I perfectly understand. You have, once again, no reason to trust me, every reason not to. I'm telling you all that I know. I'm trying to guide you in the best way that I can, and while I am putting you in danger, I am not doing it to excess. I am not guiding you towards an intentional death. I assure you, there are abominations and horrors of which the mind has not conceived within the Mourning. I have heard of such. But I am trying to help you avoid them, if at all possible. And I am giving you as much as I can to help you succeed. I want you to succeed. I lose everything if you do.
And the Mournland shares a border with Karnath, so it's imperative that we learn more about it for my homeland. So I'm in.
Fuck.
Midge,
Midge.
you don't have to go if you don't want to. This is going to be very dangerous.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard to get by when your boss, mentor, man crush kind of thing is heading into the abyss. Just saying.
Midge, I'll find someone else to rub ointment on me.
No.
That one special place I can't reach that only you can.
I couldn't allow.
Don't you dare!
Look, I'm gonna be honest. It was Ahab. Look, okay. He's got a gentle stern, and a wonderful way of letting his what the fuck?
He uses his boat face, doesn't he?
Yeah, the little mermaid at the front, kind of sticking out there.
Bodie McBoatface.
Yes, there we go.
Well, I'm sure you'll be compensated well by Mr. DeCanneth here, as well as me, if you go. So if poverty was your major concern, this mission could be your chance to leave it forever.
Well, my major concern was making a difference. I made a difference when I had someone to go behind to support. And since then, you're the only one I've been able to support. And, and I feel that if I follow you, I just have a feeling in my gut that I can make a difference. And the poverty thing is just kind of, it's a byproduct of being powerful and important. I don't care about power. I don't care about money. I just care about making a difference and not getting my ass beat every night because I'm trying to make money to eat. So, whatever. If you're in, Mr. Cyrus, then I'm in. And that's cool, right? Half excited? Yay.
And if what Mr. DeCanneth says about this maiden is true, she might be safer outside the city with us than within it.
I don't think anyone's safer around you. I think that just goes without saying.
You fucking bones in your girdle. I mean...
Yeah, why do you have those?
They're the rib bones of a maiden of 13, devoured by the elder spider of thy land.
And you're saying this maiden would be safer with you? What if you, break your bones and you need a backup set?
She's too old to make good scrying bones, I think.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Oh, that's a relief.
Well,
Merrick looks at you, he goes,
lady?
"You're asking questions of the wild card? That's a bad idea."
We're kind of new to these team dynamic and role, so we're still figuring that out.
That's okay. You'll learn each other soon, I'm sure.
Rami's going to sit up a bit more properly in her seat and try to make her most determined looking face at Lord Merrick's. And
Sir, I would gladly agree, but I'm going to take you up on your offer for a written formal contract, and I would like there to be a clause included that should I not return, my family will still be compensated in the same way I would have been.
I would expect no less. It's a shame that House Lyrandar doesn't have a strong mind like you. And he pulls open the part of the desk that's right in front of his torso and pulls out 4 different contracts that all have your names, or as far as he knows what your names are. And he has already pre-signed the bottom, and there's an official stamp with the wax seal with the marking of the Gorgon. and there is a place for all of you to sign. And the contract basically assures that assures you payment, and in lieu of your death, the payment shall go to your closest loved one, patron, or charitable donation.
Does it need to be signed in ink or blood?
Jeez.
Whatever floats your Ahab.
I sign it in ink.
Rami should make sure to make some sort of note that it's specific. Any
Does it
payment
say?
should specifically go to her mom and not House Lyrandar. And then she just signs it with her first name since she has no formal given last name.
I actually do sign it in blood. That's a blood thing.
Yeah, blood of all. Yeah.
I'll sign it in ink after Mr. Cyrus signs it in blood. Fuck that.
Does it
Cyrus
say?
just like stick his hand into one of the T-Rex
Yeah.
holes. And just
I'm not sure if this is my blood or the dinosaur blood. But it'll work.
either way, it's
It'll be
metal.
legally binding either way.
I kind of expect Morag to have like Kraken ink or something.
No, yeah, that'd be cool.
Also, I'm realizing this is the second game I've played with you, Jillian. The second time I've DM'd for you, where your grandmother is like a really important force.
Well, they're not actually my grandmothers, but hags are
Right.
Elder hags
Yeah.
are called
Grannies.
grandmother. Yeah.
All right. Contract signed. He then opens another part of the desk and puts forth 6 different tickets for first class for the Lightning Rail to depart tomorrow morning. And the 2 individuals behind you, both Whistler and the other guy's name, who I've already forgotten, which is not
Pondus.
great. Pondus.
Yeah.
Pondus both reach for them and say, took you a lot longer to decide than it took us. But I suppose good on you nonetheless. And Whistler doesn't say anything. Whistler just nods, turns, takes his ticket, and walks away. Merrick's turns to the rest of you, says, do all of you have lodging for the night? I can put you up at one of the Golden Dragon Inns, if you'd like.
That sounds good.
I have some explaining to do at home, so I will be fine.
Gotta go ask your mom permission to go on the field trip.
Well, just be prompt at the time of the train departure. They certainly don't wait for anyone. But
I've probably got a hotel room already, right? Because I've got my vassals are probably hanging out there.
it's totally up to you. This is the first time we've mentioned them, so it is up to you.
Oh yeah, they exist somewhere in this like city.
Yeah, probably.
They despawned when you stop looking at them.
Yeah, I got too far away.
About the routines.
So yeah, then he puts forth a coin which has on one side of it the symbol of House Kandala, which are the proprietors of basically all inns and restaurants, and specifically of the Gold Dragon Inn, which is kind of like the McDonald's of inns and taverns. There's one in every city. There's one in every district in Sharn. And then he also puts forth a metallic badge, which is attached to some cloth. And he says, for all of you, I want to offer this as well. It's a small token. This is, in the metal symbol is of a Gorgon's head, and it is pinned to some common glamour weave, which is a type of material that can shift and change pattern and kind of look however you want, depending on the wearer's mood and whatever they want it to look like. So each of you can now have glamour weave as well, and a symbol of House Cannith, which he explains to you. This symbol will basically provide you. You're not an ambassador, but you're an ambassador of House Cannith. And that can afford you quite a bit in this world. It has some extra effects, but I don't want to spoil everything. So feel free to wear this about. Beware of dangers along the way. I hear that we've probably had some issues lately with the Emerald Claw.
Hey, they're not such bad guys. Just give them a chance, will you?
I'd rather not.
The Emerald Claw is a extremist version of the Blood of Vol, or at least that's the rumor.
It's a terrorist organization from the
More
Blood
or
of
less,
Vol.
yeah.
Isn't really from the Blood of Vol. They pray to a Lich Queen, but yeah, they basically want to make everybody into an undead, and they like
Well,
just
fun.
love necromantic shit. Yeah, they're described as like the obvious villains of Eberron. Like it's described early that if you want your players to fight, an obvious villain without any kind of morality issues, have them fight the Order of the Emerald Claw. They'll just fight skeletons and stuff until they fight Bone Knights.
Yeah, they're not good, but they don't
They're pretty
represent.
bad.
They don't represent all of the Blood of Vol faith.
No one said that. No one said that.
I'm
No.
super defensive about it.
It's okay. It's all right. Blood of Vol is actually a pretty badass religion, since we're kind of getting to the end of our session here. Yeah, Blood of Vol is really cool. They are a religious order that believes that death is the worst thing, that what happens after death is nothing that any living being should ever experience. And so they particularly try to find ways towards immortality. Being undead isn't great either. Being undead are kind of like the undead are the martyrs of the faith who extend their life unnaturally so that they can pass on what they know. But the greatest thing for a follower of the Blood of Vol to do is die. I think it's pretty fucking metal.
I always kind of thought they were a little like Buddhists, like they're seeking the divinity within, and so you want to be your best self and reach immortality is like your ultimate goal.
Yeah, maybe reincarnation should be part of it too. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, you have all. We'll end this session as you all head towards the Gold Dragon Inn. You present your coins. The halfling bartender takes them, ushers you to your respective rooms, and we will start next session as you disembark on the lightning rail, and we'll do a little role play as Rami asks her mommy to go on an adventure.
If you think this chaotic character is going to ask permission, like I'm sticking with the Disney princess theme. If my last character was Ariel, this is certainly Ariel's daughter, Melody. She's
okay.
Just gonna run away.
Good to know.
With a note and the contract on the bed left for mom, but
it's pinned to her teddy owlbear.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh.
I'll send for my retainers to come join me at the Golden Dragon that we're at. They were probably at a different Golden Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came in a pretty shady part of the town, so they were probably at one of those inns that's very Thénardier from Les Mis. They're like, oh yeah, let me get that suitcase for you. I'll give it back. All right, thank you everybody. We're coming to the end of our time now, so I want to say thank you for joining us for our premiere episode of Eberron. Full title being Secrets of Shade and Cinder. I want to thank you all so much. This is I put a lot of work into this campaign and a lot of homework, reading the Eberron book over and over and over again to make sure that I can kind of piece together and make a fun adventure. So I'm excited to see where we go from here, and thank you all to my amazing players for starting this journey with me. I can't wait to see how all of you grow and change. So let's take some time now, and we will go in reverse order, and we will start then with Kyle. Kyle, what you got?
Hi. I'll make it real light on this so that everybody can get their thing in, and then I'll wrap up with channel stuff. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where we're gonna go. I've been paying so close attention. I'm doing notes. I have time to do notes. Fuck yeah. Normally being the DM, I don't have time to do notes. So who the fuck has time for that? So, yes, I'm very excited to see where we go. I'm very invested in this. And Derek, so fucking smooth, man. So smooth. I don't know what you were nervous about. So smooth as a DM. You slide right through everything. The transitions, the role play, the knowledge. You can tell that you did your homework. And yes, thank you so much for putting so much effort into this. I'll just push us right on down to Kay. Kay, tell us about yourself, where we can find you, and your any thoughts on the first episode.
Hi everyone, my name is Kay. I'm at ironic_cupcake on Twitter. I post about my offline D&D adventures and show off things that I make. I've been making lots of little Pokemon stuffed plushies lately, and they're really cute and good. I had a ton of fun today. I have a ton of fun every week, but it's always like a little bit of like butterflies and excitement, especially when you're starting something new. I have been taking my character, I made her about a week ago on Roll20, through like little mini encounters with my boyfriend just to make sure I had things I actually needed and just got rid of the useless things. So that's fun. I hope I'm slightly more prepared, being the tiniest, squishiest sorcerer in the entire world. I'm really excited to get to learn about new lore in Eberron. And Derek, you're making it so, like, I don't know why my brain wanted to say family friendly, but I don't mean family friendly. I mean like newbie
Fuck
friendly. Fuck. Newbie friendly.
Accessible.
It's accessible, yeah. It's making it like so easy to kind of like pick up, and you know the exposition you're giving is just like making it fantastic, and I'm immediately able to immerse myself into the material and into the story and the world. And you're awesome. So I'm really happy to be in another campaign with you and just with this entire cast. Everyone's great.
Likewise, for sure. All right, Nate.
Yeah, that was great. There's not really any reason to search me out on Twitter. I don't particularly do anything. I'm a normal, but as far as the campaign's going, this is right along the lines of what I was thinking when I was researching to do an Eberron campaign. I think the Mourning is so cool, and the book deliberately leaves out what the like answer is, and so each DM can like make their own thing. And I think it's so cool to have that opportunity. Like as players, you literally cannot metagame it because there isn't an answer anywhere for you to find. So I love the mystery of it, and I love not having an idea of where we're going to be going. And I have never played with anybody here before other than Jillian, and you're all great. And Derek, you did an awesome job as a DM, and I'm just super stoked to be a part of the group.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome. It's awesome to have you here, and I promise that the Mourning has, yeah, like you said, so much to it. I there's no way I could possibly fit everything in, even if we started there for a 12-week campaign. There's so much more to this world. So definitely, I hope that maybe you can check some stuff off and streamline your own campaign. And yeah, finally, Jillian.
Hey. Jillian, or Jill of Midgard on Twitter, Jillian of Midgard everywhere else. I'm having a lot of fun and trying to take a character that looks like a quintessential witch and not be so quintessential. But maybe it's okay. Maybe you can lean into that. Who knows? I playing with one of my own character sheets because I'm a rebel, so we'll see how that goes.
That tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm having a great time, and I can't wait to be back next week.
You've got some new character sheet packs now, right? That are like only a couple weeks old.
Yeah, putting out new ones, designing more to go up next time too. So we'll see how that goes.
I see you brought your spokesperson along. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm the one that has to do this stuff. She always forgets to like plug her own stuff. I'm like, did you tell him about the thing you made that everyone loves?
Jillian makes incredible custom character sheets, among other amazing things. Definitely check her out. And hi everybody, I am Derek Sword. I'm DSword16 on Twitter and Discord. I am going to be here every Saturday for the foreseeable future for this campaign. You can also find me every other Tuesday, including this coming, on Uncanny Adventures, where I play in a Call of Cthulhu Shadows over Stillwater game. And I am also the co-host, one of three amazing people. The less of the three, I think my co-hosts, Ellie and Heavenly are better, but that's just me. But I'm the co-host of the podcast Monster Crush, which is a really fun and sexy podcast where we talk about all different types of cryptids and paranormal entities and whether they'd be good on a date and whether we want to smooch them. So if you're at all interested in monsters or uncouth jokes or just wondering about how Bigfoot's dick is, you can find us anywhere podcasts are found. It is Monster Crush, and on Twitter at Monster Crushing. And once again, thank you to my amazing, amazing players. You all are fantastic. Nate, it's great to have you along for the ride. Kay, Jillian, Kyle, it's great to have you back. I couldn't imagine a better group for this campaign, and I'm so happy to see your characters come into life, and can't wait to see where they go.
Yes, yeah. I'm super excited for this because I have no, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of Eberron knowledge other than what I've read in the book. So I'm anxious to see. It's like you said, it's up to everyone's interpretation, and the Mourning should be something very interesting to investigate. Once again, as mentioned, Jillian does awesome character sheet art. Try to get me some digital stuff of that, then I'll I'll go and put it up on the screen.
Okay.
But yes. So check her art stuff out. It's everywhere. And yeah, we have the links in there. And yes, thank you everyone for joining us. Kevin, you're awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us for presumably the whole time. So yes, this is a wonderful opening to a great campaign. Derek, thank you for all the hard work. I know you put in quite a bit of work over the last few weeks, or the last couple weeks since we did this, and very excited to see what this melds into, and already excited from what we've already done. Let's see, Discord link, good idea, Kay. It's somewhere. Let's see here. How about we go with socials? Sorry, I did have a moderator in here, but he had to bail because it's like in the middle of the night for him. Yeah, okay. The Discord link's there. Hopefully it's valid. Join us on Discord. We do one-shots on 3 or so Mondays a month, or 3 or so Fridays a month. We have these two campaigns running, Wednesdays and Saturdays. And yeah, we'll see everyone back here next Saturday for the next episode of Shade and Cinder. And let's go show some love for another fellow D&D streamer, Fenneman, who is streaming right now. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you back here next week for more Eberron action. And yes, thank you. Have a good one.